Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, it's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me, absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
This week, in Pearisburg, Virginia, fear strikes the area as a strange, lying, porn-obsessed murderer known as the AT Killer stalks the countryside and creates an awful legend. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my very sick co-host.
Oh, yeah. I'm Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of Small Town Murder. We have all sorts of a crazy story for you today. Very insane here. We will get to all that. And we have the announcement of the new tour dates for 2025. Right. We'll tack those on at the end of the episode, sure. So you can check that out. And people who are just tuning in for the first time don't have to hear all that. So We'll get to that very quickly. First of all, shutupandgivememurder.com. That is where you can go to get your tickets for the live shows. They are on sale right now. Right now, 2025 tour, some places we've never been before, like Grand Rapids, stuff like that. We're coming and we can't wait. So get your tickets and get them quick, because this year they went very fast and people were disappointed when they waited. So get in there and get those tickets. Shutupandgivememurder.com, or you can go to at Small Town Murder on Instagram, whatever you want to do, and go to the links and do all that stuff. Also, Patreon. You definitely want Patreon. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all of the bonus episodes. Right. Anybody $5 a month or above, you are going to get Tons of stuff.
So much.
Immediately upon subscription, hundreds of back episodes you've never heard before, and new ones every other week. One crime and sports, one small town murder, and you get it all.
You get it all.
For $5. That's right. And this week, what you're going to get for crime and sports, it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about sports songs. We're going to listen to Macho Man Savage rap, and we're going to listen to football teams try to put a song together, and we're going to laugh our asses off and die. It's just going to be fun. Can't wait for that. Then for small town murder, something that cost taxpayers billions of dollars, the CIA thought they could get it so people wouldn't be just psychic, they could remote view, which is they could see what's going on 10,000 miles away by concentrating hard enough. Yeah. So that's what they had there.
I don't think so.
We'll talk all about that. It's patreon.com/crime and sports. Also, listen to Crime and Sports, our other show, and your stupid opinions as well, because damn it, is it funny. So check that out. Hang out with us and keep doing that. Well, you can hang out with us all week that way. That said, disclaimer time.
Oh, boy.
Everybody, it's a comedy show.
It is.
We're comedians.
We are.
But the thing is, the stories are excessively real. There is nothing embellished, no details that are, we're going to say this so it's funnier. None of that stuff. Stories are as real as they get, and they are meticulously researched and everything. Yeah. So get in there and check that out. What we do is, you might go, how did murder and comedy go together? Well, if you do it tastefully, that's how you go. Yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah, what you do is you don't make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why is that, James?
Because we're assholes.
But
we're not scumbags. See?
There you have it.
That's how that goes. See? And if that sounds good to you, you're going to hear a goddamn wild story.
Here we go.
If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever go together, we might not be the show for you, but we might be the show for you.
You don't know.
You never know. Give it a chance, but tell you what, no complaining later. How about that?
Yeah.
That said, I think it's time, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do it. Here we go. Deep breaths, arms to the sky. Let's all shout. Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, everybody.
Okay.
Let's go on a trip. I'm dragging Jimmy and all of his medicine behind me. Let's do it. Let's get out of here.
This is miserable.
We're going to Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Been a while since we've been in Virginia here. Virginia, we're going to Pearisburg, Virginia.
Sure.
Which is pear, like the fruit.
Yeah.
And then is Berg. So, they don't know how to spell that.
Yeah.
So this is in north central Virginia. It's about an hour 10 to Roanoke and about an hour 5 to Beckley. So you're in a great spot when you're right between Beckley and Roanoke. That's the sweet spot right there. This is in Giles County, area code 540. And the motto, of course, Virginia is for lovers.
It sure is.
Even if it's your cousin. That's okay. That's all right down there. It's fine. History.
Good damned.
That's right, goddammit. Well, we're far enough away. Yeah. History of this town was founded in 1808 when the county was established. It was named after a guy named George Paris, P-E-A-R-I-S, like the town.
There it is.
He's a local landowner who donated a 50-acre tract to be used for a town that would grow around the county courthouse. They built the courthouse, and they said, we'll make a town around that here. Now, this guy, by the way, George Paris, was actually like a war hero.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because when you look for pictures of him, the best you can find is like this third grader's watercolor painting of him, and it makes him look like an Amish child. And I'm like, this poor man was a hero, for Christ's sake. He commanded a company of Virginia cavalrymen under Joseph Cloyd and was instrumental in the American success during the War of Independence.
Wow.
And in 1780, on October 14th, his crew defeated the Tories at Shallow Fork on the Yadkin River. And
those are Brits, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. In the War of Independence, and he sustained a severe wound to his shoulder.
Fuck.
And then he moved to Giles County, Virginia, purchased the property, got married, operated a ferry, had the first... Survived it, yeah. Which back then, a wound like that, I mean...
That'll take you.
Even if the wound doesn't kill you, the infection will later.
Yeah,
there was no antibiotics or anything like that. So then he operated a ferry, the first store in town, and a tavern, and was appointed the first chief justice of the peace of the town as well, or the county. So Paris was the man here. He operated a ferry on the New River at a settlement called Bluff City, which they just took into Pearisburg and made a part of that. So he took that. He died in 1810, this guy, and he's buried in his own cemetery.
Just missed War of 1812.
Yep, the Paris Cemetery, which, by the way, if you check out pictures, look it up. It is the scariest looking place ever. It looks like a cemetery that was abandoned 100 years ago. That's what it looks like. Like the gravestones are tilted and there's like tree limbs growing through everything.
They're not putting new people in.
No.
And what's there is not being maintained.
Not being maintained at all. It is really bad stuff here. So we have one review of this town because it's a small town. There's not many reviews. One review, 4 stars, and they say, great little town.
Okay.
All right. Double exclamation point, so it must be true. Born 4 stars, not 5. Born and raised there, and I would love to go back if I could. Looking for a retirement place there, but not sure what is available. If only there was a place you could find available real estate.
Have you heard of Zillow?
You found the niche website to put this review, but you didn't take it one step further to go, of real estate, Pearisburg.
It only takes a couple letters.
Only takes a couple words. And this town, too, looking at the other stuff, too, it's like there's a little restaurant in this town that looks like it's like a trailer building that they put they put a sign on, and then that burned to the ground, and then there's a motel there that also burned to the ground. Like it's bad.
It's flammable as shit.
It's very flammable. Then there's a very crappy motel here, very, very crappy, that one of the people reviewing it said their bathroom had a 1/4 inch of, quote, scunge on it.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what the SKUNDGE, scunge. So
you don't know
watch
what that
out
is,
for that.
You know what that is.
You know what that is.
Yeah.
It is funk and scunge and something that came out of someone else's body that's not yours.
Those are bodily fluids.
Yeah. What is define scunge? Something that came from someone else's body. That's scunge.
Yes.
And is now stuck on the ground. Yeah, stuck on the ground. People in this town, 2,878. So a very small little place here. There is more females than males by a good margin here. It's 53% female, which is way out of whack with normal here. Median age is 45, which is about 7 years older than the national average. Okay. There is 0% 18 to 20-year-olds here. 0. Huh. There's almost 3,000 people, and none of them are 18 to 20 years old. Interesting. Isn't that wild? As soon as you get legal age to run screaming from this place, you do, apparently.
And then come right back.
And then come back when you're 21, apparently.
Go fail elsewhere.
Yeah, come on back to Pearisburg. 50% married, very high single with children rate. It's normally 10%. Really? Here it's about 25%. Race of this town, 88.1% white, 9.5% black, 2.4% Hispanic, and that's it.
Wow.
0.0% anything else that could possibly exist here. Religion in this town, it's 50-50, which is the national average, actually, too. And the highest one, you'd think, normally, it's Baptist. We say Baptists are the Catholics of the South. Here, no, it is Methodist.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in with 17.5% out of the whole crew here. The unemployment rate is low in the country, actually. Not a lot of people without jobs here. Median household income is pretty close to the national average. It's almost $66,000. Rest of the country, it's $69,000. So
not bad.
That's not bad at all. And the cost of living, very low.
What?
Yeah. Normally 100 is average in the rest of the country. Here it is 80 out of 100. And the housing is 49 out of 100. So
that's terrific.
Low. Median home cost here, $188,400, which
is that right?
Not too shabby, honestly. That's pretty damn low.
2004 prices.
That is not bad here. And all right, so if that sounds good to you, you can't stay out of Pearisburg. We have for you the Pearisburg, Virginia Real Estate Report. Here we go. House number 1 is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,090 square foot house on a 0.75 acre lot.
And good.
It's a schizophrenic house. This house, half of it looks like somewhere where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family lives, and then from another angle, it looks kind of like a quaint country home. Like you can't. It depends on the lighting.
It's either a cottage or a murder house.
One of the two. Inside, it has not been touched since maybe the 60s.
Oh boy.
I mean, literally the 60s. Like it doesn't have like cabinet doors. It just has like a curtain across it. It's one of those. It's got like several different old-timey floors. It's got drop acoustic ceiling in a couple of the rooms, like it's an office. It's a really weird fucking house, man. And it says back on the market. I bet it is.
Oh, the last offer fell through.
I bet it is here. This house is $154,950, though. Not bad for a little bit of land and 2,100 square feet.
Almost an acre. That's not bad.
Yeah, if you want to put it together, you can here. House number 2 is not really a house. There is a structure on it, but you can't live in it because it would fall on your head eventually here. This is 171.7 acres of land in the hills here.
That's a lot.
It's a shitload of land, and it said embrace the opportunity to own one of the region's most exquisite plots of land. And it's on like a mountainside. It also comes with, it says the true gem of this property is the historic cabin on Lot C, an artifact with stories dating back to the Civil War.
Well, that scares me.
And yes, I don't know what happened in there. And it's like falling apart. And it's like you can see it's not structurally sound, this building. It's pretty scary here. But it said that it is a complete with four-wheeler trails and hiking. It's a hunter's paradise. I think that's kind of what it is. $562,000.
For over 150 acres?
That's not bad. 170 acres here. House number 3, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, almost a T-bowl for each and every beehole. 3,932 square feet on 1.66 acres. It's just a big McMansion. It's one of those houses that it's on a big lot, 1.66 acres, where they cleared all the trees first before they put up a house. Yeah. So it's just this house sitting in the middle of a field, basically, is what it looks like. I don't like when they do that. They do that up by me all the time, and I'm like, why did you do that? You cleared out all the trees.
A halo around the house to keep it safe from being burned down. And then
that's all. Or a tree falling into it. But otherwise, keep some mature trees around. Instead, they knock all these trees down, then plant small ones. It's like, you had a tree right there. Why didn't you just keep it, assholes? So, I don't know. It's like that fake brick facade. It's all right. I don't know. $750,000 for this house, though. Yeah. It's a little... It just seems a little cheesy. I don't know. Not my favorite.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's too much, honestly, here.
For an acre and a half, that's not good pricing.
No, that's what I mean. It feels terrible for that kind of pricing. I mean, especially for the house. Things to do in this town.
What are they?
Here we go. The Scarecrow Festival.
Of course.
And this just appears to be kind of like, people with their tents set up selling like handmade jewelry and
Fall
shit.
Time. Yeah.
And at the same time, the Scarecrow Festival, they have a giant scarecrow person with a pumpkin on their head on stilts. They're on stilts. This person's, 14 feet tall. And all the pictures I saw the entire festival, not one person's even looking at this guy. This dude is in the middle of the street, in the middle of a crowd, like, hey, I'm the Scarecrow. And there's kids not even, like, interested. Like, don't even fucking care.
Pumpkin seeds in his hair.
No one gives a shit. This guy's going to go home. If he doesn't fall and break his neck, he's going to go home and pick pumpkin seeds out of his hair, and no one could care less what he's doing here.
Amazing.
They couldn't fucking care less. So, there's that. It's every October, the Pearisburg Merchants Association will host the annual Scarecrow Festival in our downtown streets. It's one of those where they close off all the streets and you just walk around. There's a classic car.
It's not inconveniencing anybody.
No, 2,800 people. Just avoid the one street. You're fine. There's a classic car show, which,
of course,
from the looks of it, was like literally 9 cars.
Yeah.
With a few old men. One of them was a Fox body 80s Mustang, so it wasn't even like, I mean, technically classic, but
it's 40 years old. But
not really what we're going for when we're going for a classic car thing here. Yeah. So that's pretty fun. One of the favorite parts of the festival, according to the website here, is that it kicks off the tradition of seeing the scarecrows located throughout town. These are the things that no one gives a shit about or even looks at.
Okay.
That's one of the favorite parts of the festival, according to them.
Look,
is
another scarecrow.
To have people risking their lives on stilts while people ignore them completely. Yeah. So that's fun. Residents and visitors alike are greeted in the downtown Pearisburg, as well as outside in the downtown Pearisburg, as well as outside the town area, to a parade of scarecrows during the month of October. A parade?
They just All walking?
I guess they're all walking with pumpkins on their heads here. They're going to have vendors and live entertainment, which is so good that they won't tell you what it is. But based on the pictures of it, one was a bunch of old people.
Yeah.
And another one was a guy in a Dak Prescott Cowboys jersey singing
all the way up in Virginia.
Singing outside of a like a garage shop.
Fuck
that was they just had a stage set up right outside the bay doors of a garage.
That's where you do it.
It's big time. It's big time. A car and motorcycle cruise in, a dog show.
Okay.
Oh, baby, a dog show and more. Don't miss this event. I don't know how you could. I will not miss it. So
it's the only thing to do.
It really is the only thing to do there. Looking all the shit up. I mean, 2,800 people. What do you want? It's mainly all the recreation is outdoor shit here.
Right.
It's in the mountains. It's right by the Appalachian Trail. So it's essentially people hunt and fish and, camp and do all that shit. There's not a lot of really others.
Four-wheelers, shit like that.
That's kind of what the area is about.
Great.
So more than that, and, this is this is getting all the people in from the hills to come actually into town and do something here. Crime rate in this town, what we are interested in here, property crime is actually higher than the national average somehow.
Is that right?
There's 2,800 people, and they walk around with pumpkins on their heads, and somehow there's a lot of crime. I don't get it. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about half the national average. So they won't kill you, but they'll steal your shit. So that's
Certainly,
that.
Yeah, they want your car.
They want your car. That said, let's talk about some murder.
Here
what do you
we
say,
go.
everybody?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this. Let's talk about a lady first here. Talk about a woman named Loretta Smith. Now, Loretta Smith here, she is a hard-working lady. She starts out in the laundry at the Giles Memorial Hospital and works her way up to a nurse's aide. So
that's tough going.
Hard-working lady. Yeah, I mean, that's hospital work's hard work. It just is. She apparently here, she gets married, has a young boy named Randall Lee Smith, and that's her son. He's born in 1954, and then poor Loretta here with her son, is divorced when Randall is 6 months old.
Oh no!
So now it's like 1955, and she's a single mom,
all alone,
working in the laundry of the hospital with a baby boy, and we'll never hear from this dad again. He just disappears, and that's it. He's gone. So I mean, there's no help at all, and anything like that. So she and her son are a pair. Yeah, and they're gonna. We're
in it to win it. It's just you and me against the world. Yeah.
Just the two of them here, and Randall, the son, Randy, as people call him. Not only do they call him Randy, they also have a nickname for him.
Great.
It's good when you have a nickname and the whole town just calls you that.
It's awesome.
It fits. It's a good nickname for you. Well, his nickname that everyone calls him is Lion Randall.
Oh, no.
Yep, Lion with an apostrophe.
Oh, boy.
It is...
Skeeter?
Nope, it is Lion Randall, LR. They literally call him LR. Yeah. Hey, what's up, LR? That's fucking bad.
That's tough stuff.
Yeah, that's not T-Bone or some shit like that. That's
not cool at all.
That's not cool. Hey, what's up? Lion Randall's over here, and he just goes, hey, everybody. So now, when he was little, they lived in several small houses around trying to find a place because she doesn't have a lot of money at all. Yeah. Times are tough here. And so finally they settled down in a 4-room, single-story home. It's got a basement too, but not 4-bedroom, 4-room. It's a very small little house they live in. Yep. It's like a little box basically, and that's where they're going to live. They find that when I think Randall's about 4 or 5 years old.
Perfect.
And they are going to stay there for the duration.
That's their forever home.
That's their forever home here. It's at 190 Virginia Street in Pearisburg, in the Ingram Village area, apparently. Now, like I said, Loretta worked in the laundry room at Giles Memorial Hospital. A neighbor of theirs, who's, I guess, vaguely related to them, a guy named Carl. Carl, my sort of cousin over here. A
fella, yeah.
Kind of cousin Carl. He said she made a living, and that's about all. All right. That's it. And it was tough. Just enough to pay the rent and get some food, but outside of that, not much going on here. And Randall, in addition to being, poor and not having a dad, which back then was not
That's shameful. Yeah.
Not normal back then,
Yeah.
especially like in a rural area, So, that made him a little bit different. And then he made sure to make himself as different as possible as well. And it's not like he did it on purpose, like he was just trying to be different. He's not like Damien Eccles or something, like just
What did he do?
trying to fucking freak out the squares. He's just a weird kid.
Oh.
He's just a weird kid. He, like other kids, would play and congregate and do games, and Randall would just like stay a yard away, just like looking at him. But he wouldn't like go play or do anything. Just leering like a fucking creep. He didn't have many friends at all in school. I mean, very rarely did someone talk to him other than to just be like, "It's mine, Randall," and fucking make fun of him or something.
Sure.
One guy who went to school with him named Gerald Smith said he was a loner and he stayed too much to himself. And then said the funniest thing I've ever heard. For a child not to ever have a friend, that's unusual.
It is.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, usually kids will find somebody that's weird to latch onto.
What's the normal amount of time to spend by yourself, though? You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess
if it's noticeable, then that's the wrong amount.
I think so. I think whenever you see all the kids out playing and you never see Randall in the group, I think that's when it's,
That's when it's too much by yourself.
Where's Randall? He's just like sitting in his yard. Yeah. You're like, okay, he's a creep, staring at people. Yeah. So, and it's self-inflicted, too. Like, he's just very, very strange, a very strange man. Oh. And we'll find out there's no, like, he doesn't have like a disability or like a mental problem. He's just a strange fucking weird guy.
Yeah. Doesn't have like a super low immune system or
anything.
No,
nothing like that. He's just staying away from people. He just doesn't want to be put back in the bubble.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So his big interest, all the other kids are into like, baseball and then girls and then cars and stuff like that. He's into collecting arrowheads that he finds buried in the ground out in the Appalachian Trail behind his house. Which
is there a
the
lot
other
out there, I imagine? Yeah.
Must be, I guess. If he made a lifelong like hobby of it, there's got to be plenty. Otherwise, you get bored by the time you're 12 if you can't find any more.
I got 3.
I found 3 of them, and then I turned 12, and I'm still looking. So I don't know. But that's what they said. He would basically go out into the woods by himself, and that was his day. Ooh. He'd come back later in the night with a couple of arrowheads, and they were like, "Have a good day, Randall." He was like, "Oh yeah, found a couple arrowheads," and that he seemed to be fine with that.
Yeah,
which is
off
weird.
In DC lobbying.
Yeah, I was for sure. So Loretta's sister lived next door, and her husband, who's Randall's uncle, would take him camping sometimes. So that to give him some kind of, I guess, male influence. And Loretta wasn't a big camper, so this guy would take him camping. And even he said Randall's a weird fucking kid. He's just a weird kid. He's just weird. He's one of those kids that's weird. Randall drops out of school after 11th grade, and he's not lazy. That's one thing about Randall. No, he's doesn't.
Almost there.
He doesn't seem lazy. I know, dropped out after the 11th grade. Well, I mean, I stopped like halfway through my senior year, so it tells you how dumb I am. Yeah, very angry.
Close.
So close. Well, I realized I was going to be credit short, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Yeah. So this guy, I don't know how many credits short he was going to be, but
maybe a lot.
I'm going to assume quite a few. And he's, like I said, he's pretty industrious, though. He likes to do things. He's got a motor. And after this, he heads over to Newport News, Virginia, and gets welding jobs in a shipyard.
Hell yeah!
At 17, that's man work.
That's some go-getter. Yeah.
Yeah, and those are like guys with families and kids to support.
Yeah.
Welding in the shipyard. So
angry fellas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real a tough job. So. Yeah. He does that. He'll go do, a couple weeks of work, like a project, and then he'll be home for a while, and he'll go back. I think he just makes enough money to have some money for a while, and then he goes back and works more. And he would just leave and come back and leave and come back. And when he'd come back, he'd have crazy stories to tell.
Yeah.
Crazy stories. Now, all through junior high and high school, there was never a girlfriend. There was never a girl he talked to. There was never a friend who was a girl.
Oh.
Like, he just no girls talked to him and he didn't talk to girls, basically. But when he would try to fit in, he would just lie. That would be his way to fit in.
Okay.
All these other kids, I got a girlfriend, this one's talking about this. He'd just make some shit up. So in his mind, it would make him fit in. So one of his classmates said, quote, he was a habitual liar. We called him LR all the time. Lying Randall.
Yeah.
He called him LR. He would habitual liar. And it is, too. He says shit that can't possibly be true. That's the crazy shit.
Yeah.
He's things that aren't even plausible. Yeah, like he'd go and do like a 2-week welding job and come home and then talk about having multiple girlfriends and children out there.
Okay.
Somehow he knocked people up and they had full gestation and spit a kid out in the 2 weeks he was in Virginia.
He's fantasizing about the wrong life.
He really is. He's like, I got girlfriends and I've been slipping them past the goalie left and right, and it's just tough. They're going to hit me with that child support soon.
Yeah.
It's rough. But no one ever saw him or knew of any actual romantic relationship he ever had. You know, not like he brought any of these girls home with him or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, you should see me in Virginia. The Newport News, they can't keep their hands off me. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show. I got news for you. You don't want this life, Randall.
No, you don't, Randall. So... no one remembered him going to, like, parties that the kids had or social events or never any of that. Like, oh, yeah, I remember that big kegger when Randall got drunk and ran into that tree. Like, there's no stories of Randall like that.
Got the cheerleader pregnant.
Yeah, on the ones that when he did show up to things like that, all he would do was lie, and no one would want to talk to him.
Awesome.
His friend said he told lies about the money he didn't have, about a property he claimed to own in other states. So not only does he have girlfriends and children, but property too. Like, he lives quite the life outside of this place. But then he just comes home to live with his mom for a few weeks, just to take a break from it all.
Wow.
The rat race, it gets to you after a while.
It really is exhausting.
Got to take a little break here. So, and this is like a pretty poor area too at the time. Like in the 70s, his mom's house was worth less than $10,000.
What?
Less than $10,000.
Wow.
Which, I mean, even adjusted for inflation, that's crazy.
That's incredible.
That's way crazy. That's like $60,000 it's worth now, which how many houses are worth $60,000? They're not very good houses. No. We've seen him on a real estate report here.
It's bad. Yeah.
It's a bad fucking house. So that is crazy. So they, like I said, but for them, this was a good house because it was the best house they've had here. I mean, now Randall at one point, when asked about this, I guess his family didn't go to church, him and Loretta. Loretta's probably tired. I think she's got to work at the hospital.
Like, you want me to go on Sunday?
Yeah, that's my only day off. I'm not going. So he didn't go to church, and I guess in this area, if you didn't go to church, you were considered a little aberrant, and you kind of have to lie about it. So he said, quote, "By the time I was in junior high, I'd learned to lie when someone asked what church I went to. Rumors always spread like wildfire, ending with a dozen people personally letting me know I was going to hell or telling me they were praying for my soul." He's like, my mom's just tired.
Yeah.
And it's my weekend with the kids, so, it's a lot.
The little lady won't let me. I've been gone all week. We're trying to bang on Sunday.
I was going to say, both these, my girlfriends, it's a tug of war at this point, and, I don't have room for God to come in and pull on the other side. So he had very few, if any, friends, and his one guy, the Spower guy, he describes himself as probably the closest person to Smith, and they're not even close. He's the guy who said he's a habitual liar, and blah blah blah. But
well, let me get close.
The thing is about Randall, Randy is a hell of a welder, apparently.
Really?
His welding work is on point, which, I mean, he keeps getting hired for jobs in the shipyard, so it has to be decent.
Sure.
So Spower has a shop where he does drag racers and off-road vehicles and all that kind of shit, repairs and makes and customizes.
Awesome.
So whenever Randall is home from Virginia, he'll hire Randall to do welding work for him at the shop. Because he said, quote, he was a real good welder. That's what Spower said. So as much as he lies and as weird as he is, he's a decent welder. I mean, you ever talk to welders? A lot of them are weird people.
The vast majority are pretty interesting.
Yeah, pretty interesting folks there. Yeah. So they said he would drop out of sight for weeks at a time. This is hilarious, man. Because this Spower, he'd be working, welding, doing shit, putting stuff together, and he'd have a couple other people in his shop helping him out or whatever, doing spot jobs. They said that Randall had been gone for a month. They forgot all about Randall. They're working, and then they turn around, and Randall would just be in the corner working on something. He'd just show up, not even say hi, and just start working on shit. They were like, all right, Randy's back, I guess.
Awesome.
That's what kind of a fucking weird guy he is. He comes in from
He's dragging a torch around, or he's just leaving all his shit there and popping in to put a 74 Nova on the front of a fucking tugboat.
I think that it's a shop that has all the equipment. So he just comes in and starts doing shit.
Yeah.
That's it. So they're really what a
he
fucking...
just pops in, uses a torch and a welder, and goes to work.
What a weird... Yeah, he doesn't even say hello. Huh. So they're like, okay, well, I mean, he's welding, I guess.
Over here, I'll just do it. Yeah.
That's it. So they thought that was very weird. It's just he never left. You know what I mean? Even when they'd all stop work and he'd be like, so, he'd start talking about a job. They'd be like, how you been for a month, Randy?
Right. Where have you been for a month? Yeah.
Hey, normal people conversation. How you been? What's been going on? Were you in Virginia or in Newport News or whatever? And they said that the weird part is that once they would be done with all this stuff, like when they would be done with cars or trucks or drag racers or four-wheelers, they would, go do four-wheeling shit, and they would go to the race to watch the car. Randall wouldn't
perform.
He wouldn't come with them ever.
What?
Yeah, he didn't want to go. And they said, well, why? Come on, Randall, why don't you go out with us? And he'd say, quote, it's my weekend to have the children. Okay.
He doesn't like you guys at all.
Children, not child even.
Right, all of them.
He just goes for a couple months, comes home with multiple kids, apparently, that are born and ready to be watched by him.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. He's also, in addition to arrowheads, he has one other big interest.
Oh, yeah.
It's three mainly. This is the big triad. Yeah. Arrowheads, welding, and nude pictures in Hustler and Penthouse.
Sure.
Loves those.
Those are the good ones, yeah.
Loves them. And I mean, this is the 70s, so... Yeah. That's about
this is the heyday for fucking porn mags.
And that's about the highest level of accessible porn that normal people in a small town would have. It's not like you can go to Times Square and go to, jack booths or anything. He's going to whatever store in rural Virginia. They might have a Hustler. That's big time for him. So he would take his favorite pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Cut them out with an X-Acto knife.
Sure.
From the magazine, not like cut out the silhouette of the picture, the whole page.
The whole page.
And laminate it.
Oh.
So he can
Genius.
just whack it for years on that thing.
Yeah. Just wipe her down and go again.
He's like, I'm going to buy me a laminating machine and a squeegee, and this is going to be my forever thing here.
Remember when you had to cut out magazines and glue them to a paper board, and the Elmer's glue would fuck that paper up?
Make it all fucking
Make
bubbly.
It all ripply?
Ripply, yeah, that was the worst. I always used too much glue also.
Laminate that shit. You are good
Laminate
to
it up. Yeah. So he did that. He had a collection of magazines, which he would either laminate the pictures or put them in plastic like comic book sleeves. Like they're valuable.
Preserving them.
Like it's a Superman #1 or some shit. Here it is.
Fascinating, yeah.
The fucking Hustler 77 fucking spread in the middle here. Yeah. So that's what he would do, and that was very strange. He also was obsessed with, his other obsession is his truck. He's got a 4-wheel drive pickup truck, and he is absolutely obsessed with not only the mechanical working of it, but also its cleanliness. He's constantly polishing it with a rag.
Got to keep that truck clean.
It's clean. It's not that great of a truck. It's like an older truck. He doesn't give a shit. He's on it, though.
Looks brand new, though.
He told everybody that there were several airline stewardesses, in his words, that were in love with him.
Oh, boy.
He's never been on a plane in his fucking life.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he's meeting several airline stewardesses or why they would fall for him.
Right.
Maybe they love it. I always hear it's an old cliche that stewardesses, flight attendants are suckers for an Arrowhead collection, I hear.
It's true.
That's what it is.
That Southern accent really gets the gay fellas that are flight attendants.
Yes. The gay fellas and the fucking 75-year-old women who are around there. That's pretty much who flight attendants are now. In the 70s, though, flight attendants were, they had to have like physical, like there was, you can't be.
Yeah, there was attributes. Sure.
Yeah. They had like a weight for your height that you could be like, flight attendants were very, very attractive in the 70s, and they were considered
today
like.
They are just.
Today they don't.
Amen.
Yeah. They just hire whoever applies for it now. Yeah. It's basically, whoever would be waiting tables but doesn't want to wait tables.
There it is. Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Wait seats in the sky.
That, and then there's the flight attendants who've been doing it for 45 fucking years.
They cannot wait to quit this shit.
They can't wait. And they're like, people used to say I had a nice ass when I walked by, And it's like, okay, Grandma, that's great. Yeah. You're pretty surly now, so I don't think so. So he would fantasize about that. He drinks as much as, casually, as much as other people. He's not an alcoholic, but he's also not a teetotaler of any kind. Drinks a normal amount. That's good. Occasional drug user. Mostly just some weed here and there, something like that. Nothing. He's not really into that too much. He has no criminal record. Doesn't get in trouble because you have to do things and go places to get in trouble.
You got to leave the house. Yeah.
Generally, yeah. Digging for arrowheads and welding in your neighbor's garage really aren't things where you're going to get in trouble too much for. So, So he did some odd jobs. He went and did some welding and came back. And this left him free to do what he really loved, which was hang out all the time on the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
Now, if you don't know what the Appalachian Trail is, it goes from Maine all the way to Georgia. It's over 2,000 miles long, and it's an uninterrupted trail where you can walk all the way through it, no roads, go,
whole thing on foot.
Yeah, you don't have to like stop at an interstate crossing or anything. It's just right down. They've made everything around it. So it's very cool. Like you can go, there's entrances to it, probably about 15 minutes to my house. From my house, you can go on the Appalachian Trail. And when I was a teenager, we used to go there. You drive out to the Appalachian Trail, and they had like little bunkhouse things, basically, where you could sit and smoke weed in there. And they had like cots you could sit on and smoke weed and get cover from the rain and shit like that. So it was fun. And the trail was gorgeous, too. Like little bridges over streams to walk over and shit's idyllic. It really is. It looks like a
hairy armpitted gal with a
you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that. Yeah. And if she doesn't like what you're doing, she will pelt you with trail mix. Don't think she won't.
Right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it's rough. It's dried cranberries hurt when they hit you. Let me tell you something. So that's what he liked to do. He liked to do the Appalachian Trail. He wouldn't hike it. He just liked to hang out on it.
Go sit, yeah.
And also there's like fishing in there. There's all sorts of creeks and stuff. So he'd go fishing.
Sure.
Yeah, outdoorsy shit, looking for his arrowheads, like we said, that sort of thing. So now he takes off from his house on May 30th, 1981. All right, May 30th, 1981, Randall, the house he shares with his mom, he says, I got to go somewhere. I got to go. I'm taking off. I'm going to Connecticut.
Oh.
And then he leaves the house.
Okay.
Now, he had been gone for over a week before that.
Okay.
As well.
Just got
back. So he'd been
from
gone.
Yeah.
Just got back from a week, popped in and said, I'm taking off. I have to go to Connecticut. And he got in his truck and he left. And that was that. He was gone. So Virginia didn't know what the hell was going on. His mother, he just thought, at this point, I don't think you question weird shit that Randall does if you're his mom.
Yeah.
You just go, okay, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, he's been weird his whole life. He's continuing to be weird. I can't fix it. So then we kind of find out what happened to him and where he's going, because we find out back on May 19th, about 11 days before this, there had been an incident on the trail here. There was a man named Robert Mountford Jr., who was 27 at the time, but looked like a retired defensive coordinator for an NFL football team. He had like a big Dave Wannstedt mustache.
Hell yeah.
He looked like he was 48 years old. He was 27.
So crazy.
Wild back then how different people looked. So Robert was with another 27-year-old named Laura Susan Ramsey, who goes by Susan. Now, these two were hiking the Appalachian Trail. They might be some of the nicest people I've ever heard of here, these two. Kind. They're social workers from Ellsworth, Maine. They're counselors at the Homestead Project, which is a home for disturbed children in Ellsworth, Maine. Which, to be able to do that, number one, hats off to you. You know, I can't fucking do that. So they decided on their idea they would hike the entire 2,050-mile Appalachian Trail to raise money for mentally disturbed children.
Ooh, wee.
That is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I can't work with the kids, and I'm definitely not walking 2,000 miles for it.
I'm not walking 50 miles for it.
Not
anybody.
doing that. I'll pay. I'll sponsor your walk, but that's about it. So Ramsey had joined him as well because it was Bob's idea. He's going to do the whole thing. Susan comes in as well. Now, around the 19th, they were seen at the Bland County store, which is called Trent's Grocery.
Sure.
So they're seen at Trent's, and apparently they earlier in the day had befriended a female hiker on the trail. This trail is a very social thing too.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's like driving a Jeep.
It's driving a Jeep, or it's like those weird golf cart old people neighborhoods, where they congregate on their golf. That's what this is. People walking up and down the trail will meet other hikers and go, meet up at our campsite later, and we'll all drink and all that kind of shit.
We'll all be part of this together.
Once the sun goes down, there's nothing to do there.
Watch out.
It's just drink and hang out. Drink till you can sleep, basically, and then wake up. So they befriended this female hiker. They all agreed to meet in the area above Pearisburg. Now, this woman waits for them, but they never show up.
No?
Now, rather than thinking that maybe they didn't like me as much as I thought they did, which is what I would think.
Wow, talk about having some high opinion of yourself.
Right? If someone didn't show up, I go, I thought they liked me. Fuck. And I just sit there the whole night going, I guess they didn't like me.
What'd I do?
Shit.
Yeah.
I suck, I guess. Yeah, I would just think I was a piece of shit all night. This woman is so confident in herself, she alerted the authorities.
Clearly, it's not me.
It's definitely not that they don't want to hang out with me all night, a stranger they just met. It's
tragedy has befell them, obviously.
There must be crime. That's what happened. That's the only way this didn't happen. So she alerts authorities, so the authorities look for them, as they do. They're U.S. Forestry Service employees here. Now, they had heard that the last people who saw Bob and Susan said that they were with a man named Billy Joe. Yeah. Which they were like, well, shit, that's half the people who live around here. Fuck. God damn it. Jesus Christ. Fucking Billy Joe. So they said that they saw this. He was a guy calling himself Billy Joe, And this was at the Wapiti 2 shelter. They saw this. Now, there's all these little shelters along the trail that are just basically 3-sided wooden boxes.
Nice.
With a roof. So there's an open side to it, but it's good to protect you against elements. Wind, cold, rain, things like that.
Yeah.
And it's a good place to camp, too, because there's a wooden floor.
Yeah, it's already
above the ground.
Already a tent. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not like with the animals or anything. So you can put your tent, put your sleeping bag in there, and it's a better place to sleep. And also just to hang out. People hang out in these shelters. So that is where they were seen with Billy Joe, at the Wapiti 2 shelter. That's the name of it. So they're investigating. They're going they got several investigators looking, because after an initial search, nobody comes up with them. Oh. And apparently they had plans to meet other people. Like, they had a whole bunch of plans that none of them came to fruition. So they think they might be missing. So they had a few different investigators going up and down the trail, asking other hikers about them. Have you seen them? Anything like that. One hiker told them, the police, that Mountford and Ramsey had been seen with what they called a, quote, strange-looking man near the Wapiti shelter. So that's where they said. So now they've been told by multiple people that they were seen at the Wapiti shelter, with a weirdo named Billy Joe. So a local, they're probably thinking, I would imagine. So the investigators head to the Wapiti shelter, because they got it. They must have been there. Maybe they left some kind of clue behind. So the main head investigator here looks around the shelter, and it's very small. It's smaller than a bedroom in a house.
Yeah, it's like an easy up.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's a very small thing. You could probably fit, I would say you can lay probably side by side. You could probably have 5 sleeping bags in there comfortably to where you wouldn't bump into people. Otherwise, it would be kind of, a little crowded. So he ends up looking around, doesn't see anything until he looks down at the floor of the shelter, where he said it looked like something had run down between the floorboards. Quote, so I run my knife down between the boards. It was a thick and red substance down there.
Scunge.
Yeah. Red scunge. Fucking discarded Kool-Aid. So he said, we need to tear this floorboard up. I think there's blood here.
Good
or
call.
scunge, but we're going to check it out. So what they did is, once they figured out it is blood under the floorboards, they went out 30 yards in all directions, kicking over logs and, knocking weeds out of the way. They came upon a small open area. And in this area, they noticed a big mound of leaves, as if someone tried to cover something up. There's nobody raking out here. So if you see a pile of leaves, it's not just an animal going, I got to clean this place up. Jesus Christ, There's people all walking all around. We look like slobs. Clean up, everybody. That's not happening. So they start digging in the leaves, and they notice a cloth sleeping bag in the leaves. Okay. And there's something inside the sleeping bag. No. And it's Susan Ramsey. It is 27-year-old Susan Ramsey. So they find her. Then they bring in dogs, because they go, okay, now we actually know we have a crime scene here. Right. So they bring in dogs that are trained to search for bodies, cadaver dogs. The dog stops several hundred yards from the shelter, poking its nose around, and then it sat down near a stump. Now, the cop, who, by the way, is the dog's trainer and handler, said, quote, I thought maybe he was tired. Not like I taught him how to signify what he found when we're looking for it, but okay. Turns out he wasn't tired. He found something.
Attaboy.
Yeah, the dog's not lazy. He's into this. No. The dog has much more like gumption than these cops do. Yeah. So does Randall, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So right there, also buried in a sleeping bag, they find Bob Mountford as well. So now we have Bob and Susan both found, obviously killed in the woods, and covered up too. I mean, neither of them are, obvious to the naked eye. Yeah. Their bodies have been covered. Bob is several hundred yards from the site. I mean, he's not even close. And Bob's a pretty decent-sized guy, too. For someone to get him from the shelter all the way out there would take something. You know what I mean? He'd been shot 3 times in the head.
Golly.
Bob. Susan had completely different wounds. She wasn't shot at all.
No?
That's the other thing. Bob was disposed of quickly, it looks like, whereas Susan had defensive marks all over her hands. She fought, which, if you put together logically what happened here,
it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy to see. Yeah. He wants to get rid of the guy to have something to do with this woman here.
Whatever experience he wants, he's got it.
So the police said she fought him very hard. He used a piece of iron to hit her in the head. He also stabbed her with a long nail. A long nail, and we'll find out exactly where that came from. She had 13 puncture wounds from the nail.
Jesus.
As well as stab wounds from a knife, too. So 3 different weapons used on her.
Yeah.
Blunt force to the head, nail punctures, and stab wounds on her.
Killed her 3 different ways.
3 different ways. Meanwhile, Bob shot 3 times in the head. She is also wrapped in plastic, Susan is.
Oh.
Before she's stuffed in her sleeping bag, whereas Bob is just in the sleeping bag with no plastic. Interesting. So the medical examiner said the hikers had been dead at least several days when their bodies were discovered. Okay. So this is on the 30th they're found. So I'm thinking this is the same day that Randall takes off to Connecticut.
Yep.
So I'm thinking here that they were probably killed on the 19th and have been in the woods for 10 days like this.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while. That's crazy. Now, Robert, a little more about the injuries here. Robert had been shot in the head, but police couldn't find the gun. There's no gun in the area. No, and they looked for that everywhere, metal detectors, you name it. They couldn't find it. Susan had been stabbed, what they said, repeatedly in the chest. Not only... That's with the knife, and then it's on top of the puncture wounds with the nail. Hit in the back of the head with a blunt instrument, and the police found those weapons, though.
Oh?
Yes, but not the gun. The lead investigator said, we discovered a piece of angle iron, wrought iron that was in the fireplace that was used as a poker to stir up the ashes.
Oh, so he's okay. Yeah.
Yep. He said, I did see a large spiked nail that had been used to put the shelter together as well there.
Yeah.
So they think that is what he was using. Pulled a nail out. This guy just whatever was around. I mean, the fireplace poker and a nail from the shelter is crazy. Based on the forensic evidence, they believe that the killer attacked the 2 hikers after they went to sleep.
Okay.
So they think they went to sleep, and then they shot Bob Mountford. The investigator says, quote, it does not penetrate the skull, the first shot.
Oh, no.
Dude, this guy had a big fucking ex-NFL defensive lineman head on him. Yeah. Apparently so thick bullets don't fucking penetrate it.
Not on the first shot.
Wow. He says as Mountford starts to turn over and starts to get up, he shoots him in the cheek, which is a little softer.
Yeah.
That round goes up and into the brain. That's the round that killed him.
Yeah.
And then he shot him one more time, too, just to make sure. But this guy's skull will repel bullets. That's
kidding.
That is impressive. So he said then the killer turned his attention to Susan Ramsey. And based on the crime scene, he puts together that, quote, she runs, he chases, grabs the wrought iron poker as she's running. He's taking the spike nail that was on the ground. He's stabbing her. As she went down, he hits her in the back of the head. At that point, she's at his mercy because she's out of it. And police could not determine, because this is also early 80s, police could not determine if she had been sexually assaulted because of the decomposition of the body for 10 days.
Right.
10 days in the woods in the summer in Virginia is going to...
In a bag.
In a plastic bag is also going to make it worse. So they don't know. But I assume that would be the reason for why he's doing this. Yeah. I can't imagine any other reason why someone would do this. The investigator said, I don't know. It's amazing what human beings can do to other human beings.
Sure.
He also said, we found evidence in tree stumps, in knot holes, in trees, under rocks.
Oh.
We found 2 paperback books that belonged to her. One of the paperback books, when we were thumbing through the pages, we found a fingerprint, a bloody fingerprint on the book.
Uh-huh.
Okay. They also talk about Susan had cuts and bruises on her fingers to show what kind of defensive wounds she had. Both bodies had been dragged from the shelter. Also, tests of the blood for Bob and Susan showed that they had drank enough to be drunk legally. But yeah, they're in the fucking woods. Of course they're drunk. Yeah, they're camping. Yep. So when they came across her backpack, that's where they found the book. It's a paperback novel called Mount Olive, one word, by Lawrence Durrell. And I've never heard of the book before. I'm not sure. But it had the bloody fingerprints. One of the bloody fingerprints wasn't hers.
Oh.
So
great lead.
Yes, but they have this fingerprint. It's not Bob's either. They test that. Okay. So now they're like, okay, this is probably a murderer, I would say.
Yeah.
So they run it through the regular database. Nothing comes up.
Okay.
Run it through the FBI database.
Yeah.
Nothing comes up.
Oh.
They got nothing. So now they're like, well, fuck, what do we do? So then they decided, okay, what if we go to private industries that fingerprint their employees and see if we can run that? So one of the first places they go is the Norfolk shipyards.
Oh.
Because you have to be to work in shipyards, you have to be
sure
fingerprinted.
You're not some sort of fucking terrorist.
Yeah, you got even back then you had to do that. So they end up running it through there, and they get a print hit on Randall Smith.
Uh-oh.
Because Randall had to get his fingerprints done to go to the Norfolk shipyard. So they're like, okay, well, that's a place to start.
Sure.
And Randall lives nearby. They look at his address, and they're like, well, all of this makes a lot of sense. This is
lucky. Yeah.
This is lucky. Then they ask around. They find out he's a guy that's always hanging out on the trail and all that kind of shit. By the way, this was the first double homicide in the history of the 2,100-mile trail here. So,
really?
Yeah, there's been single homicides, but never a double. Now, there's a friend who was supposed to be there, Renate Lillifers, who had planned to join the hikers, but didn't because of a foot injury.
Oh.
Yeah, he got lucky, this guy here. This person, he said that they found out from the cops that charcoal from a campfire had been used to smear over the blood stains on the wood floor of the shelter.
Pretty smart, yeah.
Which is smart. That's what I mean. Randall's not a fucking idiot. That's the thing.
Cunning, yeah.
Cunning, exactly. So that's... I mean, you wouldn't notice that looking down quickly. You'd have to look down between the cracks to really see anything. So police, when they removed the floorboards, obviously confiscated them as evidence. And they found also some of the victims' belongings covered with leaves and tree stumps in the woods near where the bodies were recovered. So he kind of just spread their shit and just kind of buried it temporarily. Yeah. None of these things that he was doing is a permanent solution. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, it's very, the earth will take this.
Yeah, it's real short-sighted as far as no one will ever stumble across this body is kind of a crazy thought on a trail where there's constantly people on it. It doesn't make any sense.
Made a very obvious grave with leaves on it.
That's the thing. He would have been better off like burying them shallow or something, but to make a pile of leaves that looks unnatural in the woods. I have woods. I've never seen a pile of leaves like that ever once in those woods. And if I did, I'm running the other fucking direction. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right. Let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmy's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah. They're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad.
Right.
There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff. And I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool. And you can personalize this portion and you can put filters on it. And get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Experience furniture shopping the way it's meant to be at Mathis Home, your ultimate furniture superstore. From sofas to dining sets, from modern to classic styles, they have everything you're searching for. With over 230,000 items to choose from, you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for at a price you'll love. Plus, everything is in stock and ready for fast, free delivery right to your door. So you don't have to wait. And if you're looking to really transform your space, take advantage of our complimentary interior design services. Our expert designers are ready to help with any project, whether big or small. And right now, check out the Lazy Boy BOGO event at Mathis Home, happening now through March 1st, 2025. Buy one Lazy Boy recliner and get another one absolutely free. Don't miss this limited time offer. Only at Mathis Home, your ultimate furniture superstore.
Somebody put a body there, and I don't want to know about it. So, they said this is funny. This is the guy who could have been there with them but had a foot injury. He said, quote, this is such a narcissistic quote, I could have been with them. That's what's strange to me.
To you.
That's what's strange. Not that this happened at all, but that I could have been there. Can you imagine that? Not me. Fuck them, but me? He also said Bob and Susan were not violent people. They would not instigate what happened. They wouldn't be like, fuck you looking at, fucking hillbilly. Get over it, not try to fight them or anything.
And I wouldn't either if I was with them because I was supposed to be, but that's the weird part.
That's the weird, though. That's the strange thing to me. I could have been there.
Yeah.
So now there's a giant don't be afraid of the trail campaign.
Of course.
Of course, because people are terrified of this now, which, you're in the woods, you're by yourself, it's alone, you're dark, quiet.
No good.
Anything can happen out there. We've all seen Friday the 13th. So in Appalachian Trail, they're saying it's safe. An official is urging backpackers to stay away from that section of the trail. Just stay away from the crime scene.
That piece.
Everything else is fine.
He would never leave and go do it somewhere else.
No. He's probably hiding very close nearby, maybe up in a tree. I'm sure we missed him, but don't go by there.
Yeah.
So Dave Startzel, who's the associate director of the Appalachian Trail Conference, guy running this joint, he says, just looking at the statistics, it's probably still safer along the Appalachian Trail than in most suburban backyards.
Right.
Yes, because
that's
most people have had double murders in their backyard.
Shitloads
literally.
of them, just last weekend.
In their suburban backyard. I try to tell people, stop killing people in my backyard.
Every time I come back,
they keep coming
back from the road.
How many bodies?
And there's 3 bodies in my backyard.
3 bodies, 4 bodies if it's a long trip. I was in Phoenix for a week.
Care, but I've got to clean this up first.
Nope. 5 bodies, next thing you know. And you go to urgent care, you come back, there's a body there. That's the problem.
Every time.
Every time. I can't cook dinner. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous already.
Paul's cough drops and shovels. I'm buying them at the same rate.
I can't keep enough shovels. That's the problem. I really can't. I can't keep enough shovels in the house. Yeah. So, he said that you can't do this indefinitely. Don't avoid that section indefinitely, for a little while till we figure it out. So, since they know it's Randall Smith's fingerprints, they go to his house.
Yeah.
He's not home.
No.
He shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cops show up. Mom said he went to Connecticut. I don't fucking know what he's doing here. So they look around his house, which doesn't take very long, as we know.
That's quick, yeah.
And in the basement, they discover some blood-soaked jeans.
Yeah.
Which that's not great.
Not gonna
and what they say, the investigator describes in very technical terms as, quote, some stuff that belonged to the hikers. Oh. Very technical and legal, and, that's practically a trial inventory of their things. Yeah, some stuff. Thanks, guy. Now, June 8th, 1981. So almost 10 days goes by since they discovered these bodies. They're looking for Randall everywhere. They know what he drives. They know his license plate. They know everything. They can't fucking find this guy. Can't find him. Then, on June 8th, 81, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is nowhere fucking near here.
Not near Connecticut at all.
No, not near Connecticut, not near Northern Virginia in the Appalachian Trail Mountains either. So they find his pickup truck abandoned in Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
And by the way, there's a note inside that's quite a doozy.
Y'all can have it?
No, it's not. Y'all can have it. Okay. It's real weird. It was found near a wooded area at Myrtle Beach, and an extensive search was made of the woods for him.
Yeah.
Figure he can't be, far behind.
Can't be too far, yeah.
So a note with some references to the murders was found in the truck here.
What?
First, they won't release the note's contents to the press. They just say that it's disjointed, quote unquote. Yeah. Here is the note. We have the note now, though.
Here we go.
Okay. Quote, "This boy and girl have been so nice to me. You would too if it meant your neck." That's the opening line.
Yeah.
And by the way, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
If you're going to kill them anyway, why would they be nice to you?
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah, I think they're being nice to you because they think you're a normal person who's not going to murder them, probably. Mm-hmm. He said, "All the money they gave me is almost gone. It is going to be a real shame for them when the time comes to get rid of them. He sold the parts off the truck and gave me all of his hunting and fishing guns and kniffs." He spelled it wrong. No E.
Good guy.
"And fishing stuff. His girlfriend gave me her car. It's bad that I have to get rid of them. His girlfriend is so pretty and nice. I will be far, far away before truck and these people are found." That's what he says.
Why would he write that?
Why would he write an internal monologue down and put it in his truck and leave it there? I have no idea. And the tenses of it are crazy, too.
It's very, very strange.
He writes it at one point like he's with them.
Yeah. Right.
They're being nice to me, but then it's the money he gave me is almost gone. That's a way later thing.
Later. Yeah.
And then he talks about it's going to be bad that I have to get rid of them, which is then the tenses.
Alive.
Yeah, they don't even go from like past to present to future. They're like in the past, then they're now, then they're back to the past again.
They didn't leave the structure.
No, not at all.
And he's selling her car somewhere.
He got rid of her car, apparently, because I didn't hear anything about her car being found out there either, or why she even would have a car. They hiked from, I think she met, Bob did the whole trail. Susan came a little later. So I don't know if she met him there with her car, or I don't know what the fuck happened. That's really weird here. So they're looking at that. They're saying, is this a suicide note?
Right.
Is this, I'm leaving this in my car and I'm going off in the woods and offing myself here. So that's what they're thinking about. So they have to search for Randall. They contact Giles County dentists to try to find dental records for him if they find some corpse that's been completely emaciated.
Yeah.
So the dental records are, used to identify a body. So they're thinking they're probably not going to find him alive here. And the state police assistant agent said, quote, "We consider it a possibility that Randall Lee Smith may not be alive, but I'm saying that we feel confident that has occurred. I'm not saying we feel confident that's occurred. Okay. Might be dead, maybe not." So they found his dentist here, and an FBI agent contacted him to ask if he had treated Smith, and this guy said he didn't treat Smith. Huh. So then they found the guy that actually did treat Smith, but he has no records for him somehow. Somehow just didn't save any of that stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know Randall. He comes in.
You get discount dentistry.
That's it. Yeah, he goes, "I don't keep file cabinets or nothing like that. That's real expensive.
I just fix shit and send them on their way."
Send them on their way. They come back. They'll tell me what their history is next time. It's all right. So the Giles Sheriff, John E. Hopkins III, said he had no comment when asked about the request for dental records or if he thought Smith might be alive. He said it's not particularly unusual to seek dental records in this kind of case, so don't take anything from it. June 11th, 1981, he's officially charged with two murders.
Right.
But he's still not in custody. But there's a charge out there. He's been charged.
Still looking
He's
for him. Yeah.
just not arrested yet here.
Okay.
So they keep searching for him. Keeps going on. This is into June 12th, June 13th, June 14th. Days pass. Now, Lawson, who is the lead investigator, he's the guy who ran his knife in between the floorboards and found the knife and all that. He said he needed a break. No. It's the opposite of that.
Oh.
It's not, this is personal. I will not sleep and rest until this man is found. He said, I need a vacation.
Oh.
He literally said this manhunt, they found the bodies on May 30th.
Yeah.
It is June 17th, and he said, I can't take it anymore. I need a break.
Yeah.
It's not even been 3 weeks, and he's just like, oof.
This PTO, you got to use it or lose it.
Man, dude, imagine if he lived in a place where there was actually murders that needed to be solved all the time. He would be useless, this guy. So he instead says, I'm taking my family on vacation to Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing here.
Has no idea.
No, well, he knows the truck was found down there, but who cares? So he
Myrtle Beach, that sounds great.
We're down here anyway. Yeah. I called the wife up, told her pack the car and bring the kids. Fuck it, I'll stay here. So shortly after he arrives in South Carolina with his family, he gets a call from his bosses saying, back to work, asshole. Got to do that. Why? Because we found a guy we think might be Randall Smith.
Clock in. Yeah.
So come on back in here. So I'm sure I picture him leaving his wife and kids at some seaside motel.
Yeah.
Going, I don't know, guys. I don't know when I'm going to be back.
Half a sandcastle deep. Yeah.
Take the kids to the beach. Now, he was buried, his kids were burying him. He had to rise from the sand and fuck it all up. So while en route here, officers told Lawson that the individual being detained was claiming to have amnesia and couldn't remember his name or even how he got to Myrtle Beach. Doesn't even know that much. I don't even know how I got here.
Okay.
So Lawson took a look at him, and he said it's this haggard guy. He's got insect bites all over him, like big bleeding, blotchy shit. He's been living in the woods in South Carolina in the summer for weeks. And he said, it's fucking Randall Smith. As soon as he showed up, he goes, that's Randall Smith. I know this guy. It's Randall Smith. So he's arrested in what's called a, quote, litter-strewn wooded campsite on the outskirts of Myrtle Beach after they found his truck. They said that, the note plus all the other evidence and a bloody fingerprint, pretty decent case here.
Kind of a slam dunk, yeah.
They said he'd been lurking in the campsite for about 2 weeks.
That's not a good way to describe.
Lurking. Yeah, this guy lurks. He doesn't hang out. He lurks. No. So he's going to be charged with the 2 murders, like we said. They don't know. He said, I don't know who I am, where I'm from, how I got to South Carolina, nothing.
Yeah.
And his attorney, court-appointed attorney, says, I think he's telling the truth.
Is that right?
This is Philip Sasser, who is a very easily fooled man. He said, quote, if he's a faker, he's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never watched a movie before.
Yeah.
Now, I've avoided cinema my entire life, but I don't think he's acting.
No.
So he's got a full beard, and they said jeans and a blue knit shirt. And they said that his lawyer said, my client is not mentally competent to stand trial. This fucking guy doesn't even know who he is. He said, quote, I've had 8 or 10 conversations with him, and the contents are very similar. I asked him who he was, and he says, they say I'm Randall Lee Smith.
Yeah.
I ask him where he's from, and he says, they tell me I'm from Virginia. Yeah. I don't know. I'm the man with no name here.
Yeah, they got Kurt Russell in the lobby trying to marry the man.
That's it. Yeah, they're gonna give him off to somebody there. Yeah, he's showing his picture on the news.
Yeah.
So Sasser, his lawyer, said that Smith, they brought his mother in, and he didn't even recognize his own mother.
Is that right?
So clearly,
I mean, that's what more?
He must be
do you
telling
want?
the truth. He said, she said, my boy, and he said, I don't know.
I don't know that bitch.
I don't know, man. I don't know. So anyway, he's got shit all over him, bites everywhere, and he said he knew it was Smith, though. He said that Randall was exhibiting dissociative behavior and conveying the impression he'd forgotten everything about his past. Something that obviously they thought once we get him into any kind of pre-trial psychiatric testing, they're going to know he's full of shit.
Obvious,
so that's not great. They said, if anything, his response was as real as the kidnapping note he left here. So here we go. This is what they do to him. They take him into an interview room. They sit him down, they go outside, and they go, how are we going to get him to fucking admit who he is?
We need him to just admit it. Yeah, we need a confession.
And somebody has an idea. They're like, all right, check this out. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to tell him, you put a fucking white coat on. You, detective, put it like a doctor's coat on. We got a stethoscope around here.
There's a
Throw that on.
the corner. Borrow his jacket.
We're going to go in there. We're going to tell him that basically his wounds and bug bites are so bad that he needs medical attention right this minute or his life is in danger. Oh. So, and by the way, this again is somehow perfectly legal to do. So they do this. They observe that he's exhibiting so much physical discomfort, scratching himself, and obviously he's had poison ivy and mosquitoes all over him and everything else. And he's got open wounds and shit. So they said
South Carolina is unforgiving.
Oh, there's a lot of bugs down there. They said there's other scratch marks on him that they thought were probably from Susan Ramsey, even though that was a month ago. They still think that they're deep ones probably. So they said, okay, this is what we do. He said, we told him that those bug bites were quite serious and told him if he didn't get medical attention, we don't know what could happen to him. I mean, he could die from infections.
Sure.
So they said he was nodding his head furiously and, yeah, I know, I get it.
Medical attention.
They said, so you want medical attention? He said, please, I love medical attention. He's scratching. They said, okay, yeah, no problem. Let's get you medical attention so you don't die. But before we get the treatment, you just need to sign this consent form real quick, standard procedure here. Yeah. So he goes, oh, okay. He said, do I have to? And they said, I mean, unless you don't want medical attention, yeah. And he said, okay. And he just scribbled Randall Lee Smith. Like, you fucking dummy.
Gotcha, dum-dum.
And then they give him calamine lotion and fucking put him in handcuffs. There you go, stupid. Yeah. Here's your medical attention. You fucking dummy. So, yep. He said, yeah. And that was that. And as they said, as soon as there it was, Randall Lee Smith, the cop said, bam, we had him. That was that. So then the cop said, quote, he's a very sharp, cunning person, very precise in what he does. That's the opposite of cunning.
Yeah. To a point.
Yeah, he seems like if you think he's a nice guy and you're in the woods, he could trick you into thinking he's a nice guy long enough to kill you while you sleep.
I'd say he's elusive.
Yeah, he's not going to. Yeah. He's not coming up with any grand plan.
No.
I mean, that note was supposed to throw the cops off his scent. That didn't do anything.
Somewhere else. Yeah.
No shit, man. So the attorney general here has extradition papers, and his lawyer here, Randall Smith's lawyer, said the papers were not enough to make a case for extradition.
No. From
South Carolina. They said that the prosecutors must prove that Smith was in Giles County when the murders occurred before he can be handed over to Virginia authorities. His lawyer said, I don't believe the state of Virginia has established that Randall Lee Smith was in the state at the state of commission of the crime. Okay. What the fuck are you talking about? His bloody fingerprint
is on the book.
On a book. That puts him there during the crime while blood was flowing.
Blood on jeans in his basement.
There you go. And their blood on his hand on a fingerprint. It's not, doesn't take a genius here. So they said when the agents from the Virginia State Police discussed what happened at the shelter and sought out details, they said he'd just say, I don't want to talk about it. That was it. He just said, I just don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk either.
No. So he does get extradited. He's arraigned in Virginia. Okay. And the Giles County Commonwealth Attorney's name is Hezekiah Osborne.
Fuck yeah.
The prosecutor's name is Hezekiah. You're getting some fire and brimstone biblical shit if the prosecutor's name is Hezekiah.
Quoting Bible verses.
My God. So he said he has a good case against Randall Lee Smith, currently 27 years old. He said, quote, this is funny. They said, do you think he's a murderer? And this guy, this is the fucking county attorney said this, quote, if he ate one, he's got a whole lot of explaining to do. If he ate one, he's got, and then he pulled a Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah.
If he ain't one, he's got some splaining to do here.
Unbelievable.
That's Hezekiah, the guy in charge. Okay. Ate one. If he ate the one, that's that. So he is charged with the slayings, though, for sure. And they said they set a grand jury date, and obviously there was plenty to indict him, obviously. That's nothing. Right. So they said 2 counts of first-degree murder. There's a strong suspicion that Laura had been sexually assaulted, possibly raped either before or after death. They're not sure.
Oh, boy.
but they couldn't prove it due to the condition of her body. So they said they would not charge him with the sexual assault.
We know he did this murder thing to her, so we'll just charge him with that.
It's logical that the only reason he's did any of what he did is for this. So that's the logical end, but physically they can't prove it. Now, nowadays, they'd probably be able to prove it.
Oh, in a second. Yeah.
Now, back then, they couldn't do it. So, by the way, the people in Giles County want blood from this guy because he's fucking up the trail, and also he's probably
ruining
a rapist,
our lives,
ruining everything here. So they want a real hard sentence. He was found mentally competent to stand trial by psychiatrists at the Central State Hospital. During tests, doctors wrote court officials their evaluation, saying that he's mentally competent and was mentally competent at the time of the crimes as well. So 1982 here. The trial's a week away. Okay. There's questions about some sensitive evidence here, how it's been stored and things like that come up in questions, which is never good. The prosecutors and defense lawyers were given until a certain date to file all their arguments and everything like that to find out what should be admitted and what's not admitted. The pretrial really is the trial. Right. The pretrial and the jury instructions are really everything.
Certainly.
Because the pretrial is what evidence is going to be allowed into trial. That makes 95% of the difference. Then the jury instructions, you're telling them exactly what to, how to do it. So, I mean, that's a big part of it. So they said that if the judge agrees with the defense that the search of Smith's abandoned pickup truck was illegal, then the letter cannot be admitted as evidence in trial. They're saying that they found the pickup truck abandoned on a vacant lot near the ocean. A former Myrtle Beach policeman named Rick Pearsall said he checked the truck a few hours after it had been reported as suspicious by another officer. The truck was hidden from view, locked, and the license tags had been removed.
Oh, yeah.
That's abandoned.
That's an abandoned vehicle, yeah.
That's abandoned. He said he jimmied the lock on the passenger side door so he could read the identification, the VIN. He wanted to read the VIN, so he jimmied that open. He said that's when he found the handwritten note from Smith. Okay. That's what they're talking about, whether the note should be allowed in.
Because he found it in a way that was
not a proper search.
Yeah, the word Jimmy implies negative connotation,
which
annoys the piss out of me.
We've both had that our whole fucking lives.
It's obnoxious.
Because I don't know if everybody knows this, but everyone on Earth calls me Jimmy except for... You people, you guys, that's it. Yeah. Because Jimmy's Jimmy on his birth certificate, so he has no choice. So I'm like, I'll take the bullet and be James this time because you got nothing. So you have to be Jimmy. But either way, Jimmy means a dick, a condom, a fucking breaking into something. It's never good. Jimmy is always bad. Yeah. A sprinkle, apparently, from what I found out.
Evidently on ice cream and bad engineering. It's our fault.
It's all our fault. We did it all. So, and that sounds bad that he jimmied it open. But the way he got it open really isn't the point of the legal battle. The legal battle is whether this truck would be considered abandoned, which means it's nobody's property. Right. Anybody can do whatever they want with it. Yeah. Or whether it is his truck that they broke into and then looked for a note. So that's the way it is. They said that the sources close to the investigation said it makes reference. Oh, that's the note. They said while police obtained a search warrant for a truck the following day, the defense claimed the seizure of the note was illegal and it should be withheld from the jury.
Okay.
They said that one of the court-appointed defense attorneys said that police had no information at the time they went into the truck of any alleged crime had been committed. Huh. But they did.
That's why they were down here.
They found the murder suspect's truck. Yeah. Which honestly makes it a little bit worse that they broke into it without getting a search warrant.
Because they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, if they just found an abandoned truck, didn't know they were looking for his truck, and then, whatever.
Maybe this is it, some shit like that.
Yeah, but his lawyers are saying, no, they knew it was his truck. Because the Myrtle Beach police is saying, it was just reported as an abandoned vehicle, so I was trying to get the VIN number, and they're saying, no, you knew whose truck it was, and you were trying to break into it. So that's the fight here. Another lawyer of Randall's said, it scares me to think I could park illegally and in 4 hours could have my car broken into and rummaged through. Well, would you hide it and take your license plates off of it first? Yeah. That's the other thing. When I park my car and go into the mall, I tend to leave my license plates on the car, generally.
Anytime I walk away from my car, I always cross my fingers that everything's going to stay in there.
Everything will stay in there.
I
yeah.
never trust it.
No. So they argued that Smith was taking chances when he left the truck unattended. Yeah. He said the Commonwealth takes the position that it's an abandoned vehicle. Randall Lee Smith has no standing to object to the search. He abandoned it. In addition to the note, they say they have a wealth of circumstantial evidence. Forest rangers have testified they saw Smith with one of the victims near the shelter where the bodies were found. That's not good. His bloody fingerprints found on a book next to one of the hikers, and blood-stained clothing found in his house.
Also not good.
Bad stuff. Yeah. So March 23rd, 1982, his trial is just about to start, and unless he has fucking Vincent LaGuardia Gambini coming down to help him, I think he's got problems here.
I don't think he's beaten this one.
And out of nowhere, surprise to everybody, the day before the trial's supposed to start, he accepts a plea bargain.
Fascinating.
Actually, it's the other way around. The state accepts the plea bargain offered up by the defense.
From him? Wow.
Yeah. The defense is offering up plea bargains. Okay. This is right before jury selection was to begin. Wow. And he will plead guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder. Mm-hmm. There we go. Now, a big part of this is both the Ramsey and Mountford families had to agree to the plea bargain, the prosecutor said, before they would do it. Yeah. So they said that he was recommending, the prosecutor told the family that he was recommending the pleas after discussing it with the families of both victims. They said that, he was not certain he could have proved first-degree murder, which I don't know how much more proof you need.
The lack of
confidence,
self-awareness, and confidence. Come on, man.
Dude, you have his bloody fingerprint. Know when you win. You know what I mean? Know when you've won and fucking accept it.
You went to law school, man.
Dude, this is fucking crazy.
This is why we fucking play the game. Let's
this
go.
is it right here. Let's get it
somebody.
on. Yeah. So they said. So sentencing comes around, and by the way, they said in private discussions that the prosecutor said he wasn't thrilled with having the second degree sentences. He said first degree murder would have imposed 20-year prison sentences on each charge, so you could have given him 40 years. But instead, he will get, you, sir, may fuck off 30 years in prison.
Okay.
That is the sentence, but that is not what he's going to do, as we'll find out.
Yeah.
He's not doing all that. So part of this is he had no criminal record. That was part of it, which really, once you've murdered 2 people and possibly raped a corpse, I feel like your past is pretty irrelevant at that point.
The present matters more.
That's a little bit. And it's the recent past when you were murdering people to me. So they said the sentence was considered lenient, and a lot of people were pissed off about this. In the town, people lost their fucking minds. Sure. But the families were okay with it, and that is what Bob Mountford Sr. said. If the Ramseys went along with it, we were going to go along with it. We didn't want him to get the death penalty, but we also didn't want him to ever get out.
Great people.
You can see why these Susan and Bob are so nice. You know what I mean? They come from nice backgrounds. Certainly. So they said that Mountford, this is Mountford Sr., said that he was struck by Randall's personal background, which partly influenced his decision in accepting the deal. He went, Jesus, this guy's pathetic, basically.
It's really sad,
Yeah, he said he heard about his lifelong fabrications, and he said, I don't want to sound like I sympathized with him. After all, he was a murderer, but he really never did have a life, and what life he did have, he made up.
Dude, he wanted to be a 36-year-old divorcee. That's
what he was looking for. That's what he was looking for.
Wow.
So a lot of people were very pissed off, though. Police officers were very pissed off about this.
Certainly.
They were really mad. They also disagreed with the prosecutor, who told fellow lawyers he didn't want to risk a trial because he had been unable to discover a clear motive for the double homicide. Who cares?
Who gives a shit? Yeah.
Wanted to kill him, rape her, and rob them. There's your motive. I don't know what we're talking about here. What the fuck? So, and they said that the families have said the whole thing's been really hard, and people have wanted to talk about it with them all the time, and they kind of just wanted to get it over with, basically. Yeah. Mrs. Ramsey, Susan's mom, said just getting through the emotional shock will last forever. But the prosecutor said that this agreement lays to rest any questions about the slayings. At least everybody knows who did it.
We know what happened, yeah.
They said, we now know who killed Susan and Bob, and that is something certainly worth something to their parents. I feel that I'm exchanging the somewhat remote possibility of a larger sentence. I don't think it's somewhat remote at all. I think he would have got first degree consecutive sentences and got fucked good. He said the possibility of a larger sentence with the certainty of a smaller sentence. There's one guy who's really pissed off about this. Yeah. Who do you think that is? That's
uncle?
right. A random hiker. Exactly. Yeah. Warren Doyle, 32, spends his day picketing the front of the courthouse by himself, protesting the plea bargain. Yeah. He said, no way. This is ridiculous.
Warren.
Yeah, they said, well, you must have been good friends with Susan and Bob. He goes, oh, I never met them before.
Never met anybody. Yeah.
Never met any of these people. He goes, but, he said that he believes
really pisses me off.
Yeah, he said the lawyers in the case should have gone ahead with a jury so the residents of Giles County, instead of what he called the judicial powers, could decide on the case. He said a jury trial might have answered the question of motive.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Why are you protesting a plea deal that the parents are okay with? That's the problem.
Might. There's nothing else.
It's so weird. He walked back and forth in front of the black iron fence that surrounds the courthouse, was interrupted frequently by passersby who wanted to talk to him about the protest. As he walked, he carried a red and black lettered sign that said, did Bob and Sue plea for their lives? Did Randall Smith give them a bargain? Shame on the murderer. Shame on our judicial system. One knife's the living, the other knife's the survivors. That's all on one sign.
God damn.
He's got to understand marketing.
Yeah.
Succinct,
man.
A billboard can't be too wordy. You got to tell people what you're doing real
people
quickly.
Are doing 60.
Yeah. Shame on the plea deal, or just pick a sentiment. He just stuffed it all into one here. So one person who lives 3 houses from Randall Smith's mother described himself as one of Randall's best friends.
Oh.
Which isn't really
that says nothing.
a thing. Told Doyle they were surprised Smith was guilty. He told the protester, we were surprised he's guilty.
Can't believe it, yeah.
Yeah, he said, this is crazy. Warren Doyle Jr., this guy here, he's a veteran hiker. He said he'll soon finish his 11th trip of the entire Appalachian Trail. He's, this is the protester. He said he was so offended by the plea agreement that he had to picket the courthouse. He had no fucking choice. He said if another incident happens with Randall Smith, perhaps the people who are responsible for the plea bargain should be put on trial. Right. That's not how things work, but okay. He said that he's the only one who did not get life without parole also. And they said that everyone associated with the trail security remembers the Smith case. He said since 1981, there's been 3 murders on the trail. Each time people would say, where's the guy from 81? Where's Randall Smith? Oh, he's in jail? Okay. I guess 9 people murdered on the trail since 1974 up to that point.
Oh,
that sounds like a lot. Yeah. They said that more precautions have been taken to ensure safety, such as increasing the number of ridge runners who patrol sections of the trail and report suspicious people, though there are seasonal ridge runners in the busy areas and that sort of thing. So you can't...
Likely volunteers. Those are not paid positions.
Yeah. You can't police 2,100 miles of woods. Woods. Yeah. That's the thing. This isn't a structure with a building, and there's no stoplight to run through. It's impossible. And they said also more than 3 million people use the trail every year.
Wow.
Good luck. The one guy said, I don't want to overreact to the fact that a handful of socially marginal people have killed a handful of hikers. Socially marginal. Yeah. That's one way to put murder. Okay.
Certainly, yeah.
So in prison, he is sent to the Nottoway Correctional Center in Burkeville. He's inmate number 127885, in case you're wondering, in case you want to look him up there. And there's more, though, don't worry. Okay. Then, by the way, this is in the flat area of Virginia with no mountains, and he's very sad.
That's tough stuff.
He's very, very sad here. In 1985, when he's in jail for a couple years, a book comes out about him here. It's called Murder on the Appalachian Trail by Jess Carr. And, I guess she's also a Giles County native, the person who wrote it. Right. And, the book, honestly, is a kind of a disjointed book. It's a little...
Yeah, but it's real personal to her.
It's a little odd. Yeah, it's a little strange. So in the book, though, They reconstruct a scene in which Smith, Ramsey, and Mountford drink together, because we know that happened. Mountford, behind Ramsey on the trail, caught up. Smith leaves angry because the social workers are, quote, trying to see inside my head. Trying to see inside my head.
Yeah.
They said Ramsey and Mountford continue drinking. They bed down for the night. Ramsey suggests that Smith wants to rape her. Just says to Mountford, I'm a little worried about that. So that's what they think happened here, putting this all together. And now Hezekiah Osborne, who went to private practice after this, said that this is his, from all the evidence he's seen, he said they drank together, and he said Randall, I think, made a pass at the girl. Mountford intervened and Randall left, but he returned to shoot Mountford while he was still in a sleeping bag. He said that Smith and Ramsey, according to the evidence, had a hell of a battle. He did treat her pretty bad, he said. I would fucking say so. Holy shit, they said her head injury was fucking brutal. The palms of her hands were cut to shit. Yeah. It was brutal, man. So, 1986 comes around. Yeah. You might say, why the hell are we talking about 86? Randall's away for 30 years. Yeah. Randall's up for parole.
That's fast.
That's real fast.
Yeah.
Bob Mountford Sr. said, what the fuck? He said he's not even serving for one death, let alone two. What he got was little enough. To be paroled in 5 years would be a complete travesty of justice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Miscarriage.
Fuck yeah. He also said, this is something we're going to have to live with for the rest of our lives. We won't get paroled in 10 or 15 years. We won't ever get paroled. He shouldn't be allowed to get out, Susan's father said as well. They said, for obvious reasons, I have a very negative prejudice. It was our daughter, but I would feel the same if it was someone else's daughter. I think the parole board would not be doing its duty to let a guy out who did what he did out on the streets, especially not in 5 years.
Truth, yeah.
Whatever energy he has, he's got to sit in there for a while and burn up that energy and
Absolutely.
be too old to go out and bother to do that shit again. Otherwise, I don't trust this fucking guy. So they said, he's just up for parole. It doesn't mean he's getting released. One of the peoples here, this is the chairman of the parole board, said no matter how heinous the crime, if the person's eligible for parole, we're supposed to look at it from the perspective
consider it,
that he could be released. He said, but you're not talking about people operating in a vacuum. We have families and children too, and we can be just as affected by a crime as anyone else. We're not trying to put someone out there just to see how they will do. So it's just an experiment. Then another hiker from there outside the parole board said he really hopes he doesn't get paroled. He said he scarred this area of the country permanently. Also said that I tried to shield them, talking about the notoriety of the trail, said I tried to shield my kids from it, but when people would ask where they were going, their answer would always produce the same response. Oh, that's where the murders happened.
It's the murder trail, yeah.
Yeah, it's the murder spot there. Now, Randall's mom, Loretta, she's just all alone, sitting in her little house. She said, even though I'm here and he's there, I've been treated a lot of times like someone who was in prison. Everyone from here to Washington knows who I am and knows who he was, too. She said she hasn't seen her son since he was sent to prison in 82. This is in like 86. But she talks to him by telephone every 2 weeks, and she knows he's waiting anxiously for word from the parole board. Anxiously? Does he think he's getting out right now?
That's crazy.
They said, well, where would he like to be? And she said, he would like to be where he's not penned up. I bet. No shit. I bet if you asked all the guys in prison, they'd say similar
Not jail?
things.
Yeah.
Not jail. I do not know what his chances are, but I do hope he gets out. She says she does not believe her son committed the crimes.
Unbelievable.
Does not believe it for a second. There's a certain level of delusion and reality blocking that only a parent could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only a parent or a spouse could do.
Well, that's half her DNA, so
it couldn't be that.
She'd have to recognize that she contributed to this.
Yep. She said, if he had ever bothered anybody, I would know about it. I would be the first one to know.
Okay.
Hey, Ma, I tried to rape this lady. She wouldn't let me, so I had to shoot her boyfriend and stab the shit out of her. But you know how it goes. Anyway, how was your evening?
I've been out here boogie monstering the shit out of the woods.
How was your fucking shift at the hospital? Jesus, she said that my son was framed.
Oh.
He's been framed. God
really?
Damn it. She said if there was more investigation done, they would have found some things that didn't come up. But they quit looking when they picked up my son. They got my son, and that was it.
Ma.
That's what she says. And
Fingerprints.
I hope she didn't say that to the parole board.
No
so
shit.
He is denied parole in 1986 here. In prison, they said he never didn't really make any friends.
No?
Nope, didn't do anything.
Just continued living his life the same way?
Just continued doing what he was doing. He said there was keeping him constant company were various members of the Appalachian Trail Conference who religiously filed an objection, and each year he came up for parole. So, yeah, they said that. He underwent a lengthy educational program that was intended to increase post-release employability. Basically, he got a GED exam and a couple other things he did. That was what he did. So he does all that. They said he also got into religion, but not the religion that everyone in town wants him to be into. No, he got into Wicca.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he got into Wicca here.
Nice work.
Nice work. That's what he found, which, I mean, he loves nature and loves the woods, so why not?
Yeah, might as well Blair Witch it.
What the fuck here? So there you go. That's what he's going to do. Now, September 27th, 1996, been in for 15 years in custody and in jail here. He is released on mandatory parole.
Mandatory
because he finished one of his whole sentences. So
okay.
He will be supervised for 10 years, though.
Terrific.
He's going to be on home confinement for a while and then be on supervised parole for 10 years.
Okay.
So that's interesting. He had 2 visits from his mother in the whole 15 years he was in jail. It's the only contact he had with anybody. So basically, he was weird before. He's going to be real fucking weird now.
Real isolated. Yeah.
Real weird. Yep. They said, and the cop the lead investigators who didn't want him out said, quote, he had been a model inmate, never caused any problems, so they let him out. And back then,
right back to the same town?
Back then, every day you did would give you a day of good time, too. So if you did 15 years, that's 15 years of good time, which means they'd let you out. So he returns to his home with his mom and starts doing odd jobs again.
Sure.
And also begins to immediately lie again, too. His friend Spower there, the guy who he welds for, he visits Randall at his house after Randall was placed under home confinement. And he claims he still has severe amnesia, by the way.
Oh?
He's had severe amnesia for 15 years, apparently.
Wow. In prison? That's a great way to do 15 years.
I guess so. That's the way you'd want to do 15 years. Just bash your head into the fucking wall every day.
Idea you're doing it. Yeah.
No clue. This Spower guy said, I walked in and he said, who are you? And I said, you know who I am. He said, I don't remember nobody. I said, whatever. Whatever, Lion Randall. We fucking know. Yeah. So later on, they walked around the house and carried on their conversation. Dude said it got just weirder and fucking weirder, obviously. Yeah. He said that if you didn't know him before, it might have seemed like he was actually crazy.
Right.
He said, but I know this fucking guy. I know he's full of shit.
This ain't crazy. This is Randall.
Yeah, he said at one point, Randall showed Spower a page of a word puzzle book that had words circled in pencil. The guy, Spower said, quote, he then says, your name's on this right here.
Oh, boy.
I said, really? And he said, yeah, the FBI knows everything about you.
Perfect.
He said, so we just kept that up for a while. That's what Spower said. Said, this is fun. Let's see. I would find this fun. Let's see how far he'll go with lying. Fuck it. He then said that Spower's name was in a crossword puzzle as well.
Okay.
He said that was in a crossword puzzle. So there's that. Then he said, quote, this is Spower. He said, I can't remember nothing about this place. None of this stuff comprehends to me. So we step out on the porch and looked up at the mountain. I said, that old antique school bus, I didn't know that was up there. He said, yeah, that's something that's been up there since I was a kid. He said, I knew right then he was lying to me.
Bullshit.
Yeah. That's what he does. It's the same as you need to sign this. Oh, no problem.
Yep.
He also noted that while Smith lied practically about everything in his life, from his wealth to his education, there was one theme that he was always lying about, and that was the women that he had, and he would continue that. Because if you thought he was a desirable piece of ass before, now he's a double murderer who's been in prison. Now that all the ladies want to fuck him.
Fuck, he's a bad boy.
People are jumping out of planes, these flight attendants, to try to get in his pants now. Forget it. So this guy said the women he would talk about his girlfriends. He'd have one living in Bland. He'd have one living in Blacksburg. They seem to be everywhere.
Certainly popping up.
He said, we rode over there one day before Christmas because Mama wanted some purple candles from Rose's. He rode over to Blacksburg with me. He said, my little woman works over at that place.
Right.
So I said, really? That's right where we're going.
Perfect.
So I pull in, I go inside. He just sat outside in the truck and never mentioned that story again. That was it. It's so funny. He just shut the fuck up when caught.
Yeah.
When caught, he's like, oh, shit, damn it. He said, we'd be here on Friday thinking of somewhere we might go, maybe have a nice cold one, get a bunch of guys together, maybe watch the home run championship or something. But he had no desire to head off at 5 after hours for a drink with the boys or to chill out. He'd say, I've got a little lady and I've got to go meet her at 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, pick her up and take the kids out tonight.
Can't keep them waiting.
Can't keep them waiting. That's how it is. Yeah. Those kids, boy, they get real ornery when they're hungry. You know what I mean? They're on that shit. He said, I'd say, all right. So he'd go home to Ingram Village, and we'd drive by real slow, and there was his red truck sitting right there in the driveway all by itself.
Doing nothing.
Full of shit is what it means.
There's one thing that will forever change the way you sleep, and it's the softest 100% organic cotton sheets from Boll & Branch. You'll fall asleep faster, wrapped in the most luxurious comfort. You'll never sleep hot again. With sheets that feel breathable to sleep in, you'll experience the purest softness on night one and feel your sheets get even softer with every wash. Discover the difference with 15% off your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com with code WONDERY15. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
It takes one guy out there to say, who's that Kyle who thinks he can just get on a microphone on a podcast and start publicizing this?
From iHeart Podcasts and Tenderfoot TV comes a new true crime podcast, Crook County.
I got recruited into the mob when I was 17 years old.
Meet Kenny, an enforcer for the legendary Chicago outfit.
And that was my mission, to snuff the life out of this guy.
He lived a secret double life as a firefighter-paramedic for the Chicago Fire Department.
I had a wife and I had 2 children. Nobody knew anything.
People are dying. Is he doing this every night?
Torn between 2 worlds.
I'm covering up murders that these cops are doing.
He was a freaking crazy man.
We don't know who he is, really.
He is my father, and I had no idea about any of this until now. Welcome to Crook County. Available now. Listen for free on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Year 2000, Randall's mom, Loretta, dies.
Fuck.
Loretta is the last piece of tether holding him to anywhere near sanity or a normal life or society. Yeah. Once she dies, he just becomes a complete fucking Ted Kaczynski recluse weirdo at this point. So real fucking weird. The first thing he did was take all the pictures off the walls.
Oh.
Like the day his mom died, he took everything down off the wall. Everything. Even if it's like a painting of a mountain down. Just clean walls. Yeah. Well, you got to have room for your hustler laminates as well. Sure. The second thing he did here was run out of money because he doesn't really have any money anyway.
Got nothing coming in. Yeah.
And it would get worse every month. Later on, all his utilities will be shut off. It's not good. September 2006, he's been on parole for 10 years. He's off parole. He is a free man.
Yeah.
Off supervised parole, and he wants some property. Yeah. He has no money.
No.
Okay. His electricity is getting turned on and off. I don't know where he thinks he's going to have money for property, but there's a guy, or a couple named Robin and Jason Stephen. They own 98 acres of wooded mountainside between Smith's house and the Appalachian Trail. Sure. So that's what he has to cut through their property to get to the trail. Yeah. What he wants is a piece of that property like that would allow him to go to the trail. Sell me a trail through your trail, basically. He said that shortly after he was released from prison, this couple said that he just rolled up to them as a neighbor and said, quote, "You may hear some things about me that aren't true, that I killed some people."
That's not a good way to say it.
Nice to meet you, neighbor. Can I get you a beer? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he said, and then they heard too. They had heard about him. Everyone said, "Oh, you meet Lion Randall yet?" They're like, "Lion Randall? Who the fuck is that?" The murderer that lives 3 doors down. Right. Wait, there's a murderer named Lion Randall that lives 3 doors? Okay. Well, great job buying this. Excellent. Thanks, real estate agent. So this guy, Randall then told Jason that he doesn't hike in the trail anymore or do any of that. He said, I'm getting too old for that sort of shit. Yeah. Can't be doing that to go all the way around. So I want to be able to just walk right over there to it to hang out. And, he said Smith wanted permission to walk the property in search of arrowheads to get to the trail also, and he wanted to buy a small parcel at the top of their land so he could put an old trailer next to the trail and live there.
Jesus.
That's what you want. A fucking recluse, lying weirdo living on your land in a trailer that murdered people.
Yeah.
Who's a murderer also. Right. But even if he wasn't a murderer, I wouldn't want that. So he would show up all the time to ask this guy to sell it to him. Uh-huh. And the guy would say, sorry, I don't want to sell any of my land. Not doing that. Yeah, Jason's wife, who was a real estate agent, so she could have made the sale.
She's aware,
said she never felt comfortable around Randall at all, and said that Randall always seemed to ignore her, like in a weird way. Uh-huh. Like she wasn't there, like she didn't exist.
This is between men.
Yeah. Once Randall told the husband that he could see her coming a mile away, that jet black hair. Mm-hmm. So that made him uncomfortable. Like you've been looking at my wife, you just haven't been acting like you are, which is even creepier. He said when they did talk, Smith would repeatedly ask her if she wanted to sell the parcel of land, and she would say no, and he'd go, all right, yeah. The Stevens ended up selling the entire parcel to someone else.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. They sold them. So Smith approached the wife and said, will you list my house? Uh-huh. He said, I want to move in a few months. He said he had things he needed to do, is what Smith said. Everybody's named Smith in this town, by the way. The real estate agent, wife, neighbor's named Robin Smith. So he said he had things he wanted to do. He also told her he'd been in the hospital and wanted to settle down and that his days of walking on the mountains were over. And they didn't know. They were like, I don't know what the fuck. But either way, we're not selling this shit to you. Okay. So February 2008, not long after she told Randall that she was not going to list his house as well, here he said that he needed to move. One afternoon in the month of February here, this is one of the neighbors said they were at home when they saw a very weird sight from their kitchen window. Okay. Randall Smith was making trip after trip from his cellar, which he accessed by an exterior door, one of those, double open doors there.
Those are fun, yeah.
They said he was carrying what they called an astonishing amount of bright yellow plastic grocery-style bags filled with something into the house from the basement.
Okay.
They said
in and up, yeah.
Yeah, they said his actions were calm and methodical. They said in some ways it was like he was collecting the ingredients to make like a cake or some shit. Like, I got it like he went grocery shopping, but probably not. They didn't get it. Then they figured out later that he may be assembling things for a lengthy trip, like canned goods, because a lot of it they figured out was canned goods, like maybe he's going out camping or something like that. April 28th, 2008, Randall's public water is cut off.
Shit.
That was his last utility that he had working, was water.
That's gross.
So now he can't even shit in his house.
Nothing
now.
Goes away. Everything sticks
Nothing goes away. You're keeping all of it.
Yeah.
You're keeping dinner from last night. So the house is dark and quiet. During this period, neighbors noticed that he's not around. So they said, that's weird. Then, 6 weeks go by. They haven't seen Randall. There is a shitload of mail piled outside the house. I mean, also like weeks worth of mail out there. So they're like, that's really weird. So on April 30th, a missing persons report was filed about Randall. Great. They said concerns about his welfare and mental state and what he might be doing out there. Maybe he's an older guy too at this point. Maybe he got sick in the woods. Maybe he fell and hurt himself.
All too possible. Yeah.
You never know. So they didn't know. And the cops, they weren't really looking for him like that because he's off parole. So he's like anybody else. So he is missing. They put up a big picture of him missing, looking for him, missing hiker. So they said that one person here who's with the sheriff said, apparently during this time, we never had the first problem out of him since he got out of jail. They said no other crimes, never failed to signal a right turn. He was as invisible can be.
Kept it all together.
Kept it together, kept it tight. He lived up there in that little house and pretty much kept to himself. I heard that some dumbass went up there and tried to get him to autograph the book that Jess Carr wrote, and Smith didn't want to sign it, but that's about it. So he's basically invisible until 2008. Some dumbass to go knock on a murderer's door and ask them to sign the book about the murder that he didn't even write is crazy. That is fucking crazy. You're an idiot. So they said, quote, so we went up to the house and broke in, and his house looked just as if he was there right now. Everything was there in place. It looked like he just walked out. He said, we started checking it, and it seemed like his water and stuff had been shut off sometime before for non-payment. We talked to some of the other people, and they said he liked to go up on the cliffs right above the house that were right near the Appalachian Trail. They said he liked to go up there and sit and just watch the world go by.
Hell yeah.
So they're like, okay, that's a place to look, I suppose. But, you know, they said, why not? And check it out. In the house, though, they said they were doing nothing crazy. They were just dusting for fingerprints, like kind of doing like a burglary scene thing, just to see what they could find. They checked his mailbox. They found that his mail had not been picked up since March 3rd. Quite a while, 2 months almost. They said that's about when he left his home, but they don't know, maybe. There were signs that he had run out of money, packed a few things, removed his pornographic material. He took that with him. He took his porn with him.
Yeah.
They said, it looked like he just walked out. It was real weird. They said, so they were worried about, so we're thinking, okay, he's gone up there on the trail and he broke a leg or had a heart attack or something. So we had a big search and never found any trace of him. So they put up all these posters. If you see this guy, let us know. They everything. They said we figured at that point that he probably died in the woods and that some hunter would probably find him in the fall.
Figure it out later.
That's it. Literally, someone's going to trip over his bones in a couple months. Don't worry about it.
We'll be alerted to his corpse soon.
Yeah, we'll find his skeleton and we'll do it from there. They said as more time passes and everything, the chances that he's alive are less and less probably.
Slimmer, yeah.
So May 8th, 2008.
Okay.
This is at Dismal Creek. In this area. By the way, it's beautiful, Dismal Creek.
Fantastic, yeah.
It's a trick.
Strategically named.
It's a trick, yeah. But it does say right under the sign, no alcoholic beverages allowed, which is also a trick because everyone's got booze in this fucking trail.
Yeah.
The number one thing people have is fucking booze. Nuts and booze. That's what they got. So now we'll talk about Sean Farmer, who is 33 years old. Sean is a big fucking guy.
Hell yeah.
6'4", 350.
God damn.
Big old dude, just a big giant honking sumbitch here. Now, he's with his buddy, longtime best friend Scott Johnston, who's 37. They're both from Virginia also. Yeah. And they're going up camping in the Walnut Flats area of the Dismal Creek section of the Jefferson National Forest. They're going trout fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Good trout up here, babe. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
Scott Johnston said, I love coming up here. It's easy to get on the trail here. It's a good place to meet other hikers. So they were on the trail, near the trail on Brushy Mountain, miles away from civilization, and they were going for a creek that apparently was just jumping with rainbow trout.
Fuck yeah.
More than you could reach in with your bare hands and scoop them out. So he said, they asked him, this is actually Chris Hansen asking him later on, how was the fishing that day? And he said, actually awesome. I hammered them, laughing. Okay. Hammered back some fish. Yeah. They said, how many did you get? And he said, 6. So he said, 6 nice ones.
Yeah.
6 nice trout. That's a damn good day. Now, Sean and Scott out here fishing said they had a weird feeling that someone was watching them all day, which in the hills of Virginia, you should probably always feel.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In the hills of anywhere, feel that way.
Feel that way. Yeah. Just assume there's someone watching you.
Yeah.
So he said they didn't know it, though, but just weird. He said also that the local sheriff, some hikers had reported to the local sheriff that they had seen some odd shit on the trail, strange symbols and threatening signs painted on rocks and trees. The sheriff said there were skulls and crossbones painted on rocks, enter at your own risk, which hadn't been there before. None of that shit.
Yeah.
It's all new. So Scott Johnston said, I had fished all morning and I was coming back up the mountain and there was this dog in the road.
Oh.
When I stopped, I got out of my truck, someone walked up out of the creek bank. So we talked a little while, talked about fishing and stuff. And he told me, he says, oh, there's no fish in this creek. And he said, so Chris Hansen asked this guy, no fish. And the guy, Scott Johnson, said, yeah, that's what he said. So I opened up the cooler and pulled out a bag of trout. And I said, here, you can have these.
Yeah, I took them all. I'm sorry.
I got a bunch.
Yeah.
And so they said, did he strike you in any way as weird? And Scott said, no, he just looked like a camper.
He looked
a normal
exhausted.
camper.
Yeah.
He looked tired. He looked like he was hungry for fish. So that evening, as Sean, the big guy, was setting up his tent near Dismal Creek, that's the same guy comes by again. Okay. And Sean Farmer, the big guy, said that said he just, walked up, and I said, how you doing type of thing. Yeah. And he spoke to Scott, and they were fishing together. Sean and Scott say an unwritten rule of the trail is to offer aid and friendship to fellow hikers and fishermen.
That's what it is, yeah.
It's part of it. Yeah, it's like it's the last bastion of hippieism.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're out there, help people. And they did just that. So they were trying to help him. And Scott said, he'd been coming up here since his early childhood with his dad and everything. So they sit down and they talk to this guy. And this guy, this haggard camper, said that he was an engineering graduate from Virginia Tech.
Sure.
But they were like, no, he's not. They didn't. Impossible. They looked at each other like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
They took pity on him, basically. They said, Scott and Sean. They were like, this fucking guy.
Poor bastard. Yeah.
He's wandering around the woods, puffing up his credentials like he's on a job interview, fluffing his resume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they sat around. They talked with him. They ate food together there, and that's how that went. Now, the weird part is that they were, before this too, before the campsite, because he met him in the road, gave him some fish, and then later on ran into him. And he had asked Scott if he was going to set up a camp nearby, and Scott said, yes, my friend's coming, and pointed in the direction of the campsite. Right. This man told Scott that his own camp happened to be in the same direction, about a mile or so beyond where you're pointing.
Yeah.
He said, so maybe I'll stop by later on my way to my campsite.
Right.
And they said, yeah, sure, why not? And that's how it goes here. By the way, this guy that they run into is carrying a .22 pistol the whole time.
Oh,
pistol.
Yeah.
Pistol. So that's when, like we said, Sean arrives later on. They're setting up their tent. They start cooking about 4 o'clock. And that's when, by the way, Johnston at the time was working as a chef.
Oh.
So he built a campfire, cleaned, and cooked the trout, which that's pretty good.
Probably good food.
You're getting good trout there. Mm-hmm. That's when Smith rolled up, when the fire was going, and they invited to join them for dinner. Yeah. And Farmer said, we talked to him for about 3.5 hours.
God dang.
Imagine talking to a stranger in the woods for 3.5 hours. That's a fucking nightmare.
They didn't even learn you teach a man to fish. They're just giving him fish all day.
Giving him more fish. It's the same day.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow teach him. I'm not sure. So this guy, Farmer, said, I never got the feeling that any of this was out of the ordinary. He was pretty charismatic. Right. He didn't talk like he was lying. Anything we talked about, he seemed to know something about. Yeah. He told them, by the way, not only did he have attended Virginia Tech as an engineering student, he wrote papers for NASA. Sure thing. Now he's emaciated, needing fucking donations of trout in the woods.
Genius, yeah.
Neither guy believed the stories. They all thought he was bullshit. Yeah. They said, this is Johnson. My intuition was the guy was an alcoholic who'd been kicked out of his home.
Hilarious.
Probably closer to the truth. Yep. So Farmer said the only thing that was unusual was how long this guy stayed with them. Huh. He said he told us where his camp was, and I knew it was about an hour walk away. That wouldn't have been a problem for Scott and me to walk through the woods in the dark to get there, but I thought most people would have a problem getting there in the dark. I don't even think I realized it at the time that, where the fuck is this guy going to go?
On foot, yeah.
Yeah, where is he going to go? Now, the stranger tells the Sean and Scott that his name is Ricky Williams. Uh-huh. Yes, the running back. Why not? Yeah. I'm Ricky Williams. Mm-hmm. My dreads get in the way of getting of my helmet sometimes.
Yeah.
I like to smoke weed. Obviously, this is Randall Smith, clearly. Yeah. Right. Now, at about 8:30 p.m., old Ricky Williams gets up to leave. He goes, well, that's about all. Thanks for the trout. You fellas have been a hell of a...
Turn in.
Really appreciate your hospitality, but I'm going to be getting on out of here. So they go, well, great to meet you. You be careful going through the woods. It's at that point that, it's Randall Smith. He walks behind Sean Farmer, the big guy, and like he's going to leave, and instead pulls out his .22 caliber pistol and fires 2 shots into Sean's head and back. Pow, pow. Quick, right?
Yeah.
So Smith turned and from about 10 feet away aimed his pistol at Johnston, and fired 2 rounds into Johnston's neck and face.
Fuck.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy. Johnston, and we'll get into more detail, ran into a clump of trees near the camp, and Smith turned back possibly to shoot Farmer, but Farmer had already taken off running.
Unbelievable.
Both these guys have 2 bullets in them, and they're
running.
Pretty moving around. So, they later on in the spot, they said that it was right there. They had some dinner, some conversation. Scott said, we were sitting around the campfire talking about sports and fishing. Sean said, and then it was dark by that time, and he walked over to get his dog right in front of Scott's tent and, patted his leg. Like, I could hear him say, come on, boy, we need to get back to camp. It seemed to be quiet and just an easy way. And he said, Scott said, and the next thing you know, I just hear pow, pow, and I see his arm stuck out toward Sean. Sean said, I just had this ringing in my head where he shot me right in the side of the face. I hear that boom. I couldn't hear any other gunshots because inside of my head was like, wah, with 5 A's, just as loud as you could possibly imagine. It rings in your head unbelievably, and my mouth was swollen immediately, so I really couldn't speak after that. And then my vision in my right side went bad.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, Sean said, and I stood up, staggered back, and all I could see were, shots of what looked like fire, which were bullets discharging towards Scott. He said, now it was all about survival. So Scott, who's also shot, says, and I jumped up and I took off and I started running this direction, ducking down, and he's pointing. Scott says, and I guess he turned and shot me in the back at that time. And then I run up and I get down behind this clump of trees to protect myself.
Still moving, yeah,
shot in the back. Scott says, and then I realized that I was shot in the neck. I could actually see the blood like squirting like a foot every time my heart would beat. He hit an artery.
Yeah.
He hit the main vein there. Not good. He said, it was just pulsing out of me. Well, I felt around my neck and I was like, and I felt the bullet hole and I just stuck my finger in the bullet hole to plug the wound.
Oh, God.
To keep the blood from, squirting
Ouch.
out. Oh, my God. That is horrifying.
Oh, God, he's the toughest man alive.
Wait till you hear Sean, too. Sean remembers the scene unfolding as if it was slow motion. Yeah. He said the shooter turned back toward him and gets ready to fire again. Yeah. And Chris Hansen asked, what was the look in his eyes? And Sean said, just a blank look. Like, it's almost like he was looking past me.
Crazy.
Crazy, a murderer in the woods for no reason. So Sean's a fucking enormous guy, like we said. Yeah. Sean said, I'm going to rush him. Fuck it. I got a better chance if I bum rush him. So Sean rushes him, and Sean said, once I saw that happening, I just went toward him. And they said, Chris Hansen said, and what was your intent? He said, just to stop him from shooting us, just to get to him. Yeah. So now he said he's face to face with the gunman here, and he's struggling with him. And he said he charged the shooter, and Sean said he turned back toward me, shot me in the chest. So that'll end that.
So many shots.
That'll end trying to get after him.
Yeah.
Sean said at that point, nothing happened. There was no more bullets, no more fire. So it was just, staring each other down briefly. Right. Now, it had to be scary for Randall at that point.
Yeah.
You shoot a guy who's 6'4", 350, and he doesn't go down and he's staring at you. You're in deep shit. Yeah, you're in deep shit. So he somehow absorbed a and it was like 3 feet away, point blank gunshot wound to the chest. At that point, Sean turns and runs for his Jeep. Somehow is able to turn and run. He gets in. By the way, Randall's chasing him, fucking with his gun, trying to fix it or whatever, trying to line him up. Sean said at that time, I just put my hand up, just hoping to, if he was going to shoot me through the hand, to block it a little bit.
Hopefully slow it down, yeah.
Slow it down, to ricochet off one of my bones, something. So I start the car, and once the car started, he went past me, and was from behind. So when I started the car, I ducked down in the passenger seat and just drove away.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, Scott is hiding in a clump of trees in the woods. Remember that?
Yeah.
So Scott Johnston's taken refuge in the wood. He'd been shot in the back and neck. All he remembers thinking is that he could bleed to death right in the woods.
Yeah, he's got the Vegas fountain in his neck.
Fuck yeah. He said, I mean, the blood was just squirting out of my neck.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, it was every time my heart beat, it was just boom, boom. And I assume in that case, your heart would be beating pretty fucking hard
Super
and fast.
Yeah.
And like I say, I mean, I just stuck my finger in, probably a quarter inch down inside the wound. Holy, he put it in like he's trying to hear on the phone.
Yeah.
He put it in his ear. Oh my God. Imagine putting that in your neck. Fuck. So Chris Hansen said, and you knew you had to get that wound plugged. And he said, yeah, I knew that. And he said, otherwise I would have died right there. Right. And so Sean tears out of the campsite. Sean said he realized Scott was still back in the woods somewhere.
Right.
Wounded and bleeding. Now, Scott saw Sean make a run for it. And at that point, Scott described it thusly, quote, I took off and made it down through the woods. I was going to go down to the road, and I met Sean down at the road with his truck.
Yeah.
He said, I saw his headlights coming down and stops, and I jump in, and I just screamed, go, go, go.
Yeah.
We're both shot, and we got to get out of here. And I mean, he just punched it.
Sure.
So Sean says, I was just lucky that my car was aimed heading out of camp and the keys were in the ignition, because it's bad enough to try to drive with not having vision in one of your eyes, but to do it in reverse through the dark in the woods
while you're injured, yeah,
with only your red taillight glow to guide you would be fucking horrific. So holy shit. So now that is wild. They said that they saw, Farmer said he saw him in the rearview mirror. He saw Randall Smith at that point come up next to them and raise the gun again. And they're both in the truck, and he pulls the trigger, but the gun didn't fire.
Suck it. Yeah.
So they said they had ran out of ammunition, it looked like, and as he began reloading, that's when they took off.
Go, yeah.
Now, as they're going here, it's wild. They said they're flying down the road. The ride from their camp, there's no houses for about 5 miles from here, too. So there's some time. Then, at this point, Farmer's tongue, Sean, the driver, is so swollen because the bullet entered through the back of his head and remained in his sinus cavity. By the way, it'll never come out of his sinus cavity. And blood is squirting like a fucking, like Bugs Bunny just got shot a bunch and drank something out of Scott Johnston's neck. Neither one of them could drive independently. They're both drifting in and out of consciousness. This is insane what's happening right now. This is almost like the guy riding off on the four-wheeler in Utah, bleeding. Blood on the icicles, it's called.
But he's trying to get away.
So, so is this guy. Same thing. Because that was a father trying to save his kids.
Yeah.
It was the same deal.
On the snowmobile, that's right.
On the snowmobile. So neither one of them could drive. They're both drifting in and out of consciousness. They said they couldn't really even remember much about the drive here. Farmer said, as soon as we pulled away, we both ducked down in the seat because we thought he was going to shoot again. My throat and my tongue were so swollen I couldn't talk to Scott, and I remember I was feeling around for an exit wound, but I couldn't find anything. I started spitting to see if I was spitting up blood. When I didn't see any blood, I knew I was going to be okay. Wow.
Is that what it is?
I wouldn't have thought that.
I didn't know that.
I would have said I must be out of blood, is what I would think. I must have ran out of blood.
The next few minutes are precarious.
It's not going to go well.
Yeah.
But then at this point, now they still have to drive 5 miles, drifting in and out of consciousness and bleeding to death. So Sean said, I knew I was running off the road, like he couldn't keep it together. And he said, but I could feel Scott's hand on my steering wheel keeping us on the road. One hand with a finger in his neck hole, the other hand steering the car.
Wow.
Farmer said, I blacked out and my vision was blurred out of my left eye. I couldn't hear out of my left ear either. It was like a ringing you have with a bad case of swimmer's ear. Yep. He said, my vision kicked that back in at the hospital, but I don't remember much about the ride going to someone's house. So he does remember seeing the blood spurt out of Johnston's neck, and he said he wanted to talk to him, but he couldn't because his jaw and his tongue were fucked up.
Yeah.
He said, quote, I've always been an outdoorsman. The thing that saved us was that Scott and I know each other so well and that we know that the other one was going to do without thinking about it. They're flying down the road. One is passing out while the other one will grab the wheel. Then Scott would start to pass out and Sean would grab the fucking wheel again and take over. This is crazy. Yeah. Scott Johnston said, we went down that dirt road doing like 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour on the road that you can normally do 20. Fuck, he said, and I can look over and I can see he's shot in the face. And I'm worried, like, he's shot in the brain or something, it's dark. I mean, we're both shot. We're both bleeding. I mean, we're both in a panic. There's a small bridge that you have to cross the creek. We cross that and then the road veers left. Well, when we veer left, the next thing I know, the Jeep just runs on the side of an embankment.
Oh, God.
Fuck. And I mean, the rocks are flying and there's trees and I'm screaming, Sean, Sean. And we come down off that embankment and we stop. He's shot in the face. And I was sitting there thinking, well, he can't see. He's blacking out. I said, let me steer. And I said, you just listen to me and I'll tell you when to work the pedals.
Hilarious.
Holy
That's
shit.
Unbelievable.
I'll steer, gas, brake, more. That's fucking crazy. But I mean, all of a sudden we just take off again. And I mean, we're flying down the road and the road curves and S-turns and, turns. And I mean, I'm steering from the passenger side. I'm holding my finger on the bullet hole there, trying to keep myself from bleeding to death. He said, and we drove about 2 or 3 miles. Holy shit. Wow.
I'm going to be sick.
Fuck. And it comes to a really sharp curve in the road. And the next thing I know, we hit it too fast. And I'm telling him, I'm like, slow down, slow down. And we just skid sideways in the road around that curve. And the wheels probably come within a foot of going over like a 20 to 30 foot embankment. They almost flew off of a cliff now. And we skid to a stop right there, totally sideways in the road. And then I'm like, go, go, go. And I whip it back around and we take off. This is crazy. So it's zigzagging, careening out of control. He said, I'm screaming, stop, stop, when I want him to slow down. And, I'm trying to steer. He said that he took his finger out of his neck. Blood squirted everywhere. He had to stick it back in because he thought maybe I don't need it now. So, yeah, this is crazy. He said, Sean, we've been shot. We're going to die if we don't get help. You can't go off the road, dude. We got to fucking do this shit. So, anyway, they come to a house here. The first house they come to, they pull in. It's under construction. No one's here. Yeah. Fuck. They get back. Second house, they go, it's dark. Yeah. Okay, fuck it. We don't care. We're banging on the door. People live here. There's cars in the driveway. They're banging, 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 screaming, call 911. Me and my friend have been shot. Call 911. Call 911.
Good answer.
Good thing to do there. Yeah, don't make them think that you're there to sell fucking Avon or something. Make sure they know what you're there for. So this isn't Amway, I swear. So Farmer is still in the truck. Well, it's Johnston who runs up there. He's got a lot of energy. Yeah. Melissa Miller is the homeowner. She opens the door. She said she thought it might have been a home invasion at first. That's why she didn't come out at first.
Yeah.
But they kept screaming, call 911, call 911, and she could see blood.
We're covered in blood already. Yeah.
Yeah. So she said, I said, oh, my God. Yeah. Her and her son, Randy, went out on the porch, and Mom told Randy to go get some towels. They got some towels. They called 911. The ambulance is coming from Bland, which is 20 miles away.
Oh, they better hurry.
Holy shit. Randy, the kid, said, I was just shocked to think that 2 people might die right there in front of my eyes on my front yard.
Yeah.
So Melissa thought maybe these 2 strangers, at first she thought they got in a fight and shot each other. She thought they got in a fight with each other, shot each other, and then we're like, oh shit, we're both going to die, so let's help each other. But when Randy, the kid, gets back, Randy's 20, by the way, the kid here, he recognized Farmer. Huh? He knew him. So I know this fucking guy. Farmer had dated a friend of his that he knew, like a work friend. So he said, I know this fucking guy. Yeah. They sat on the porch. They were applying wet towels. They were listening for the ambulance. And she said, I called them again, and I said, where y'all at?
Hurry up. I'm out of towels.
I've done ran out of towels, and my bounty supply is dwindling. So they said blood had soaked the towels. Randy went to get more. Wow, that's fucking crazy. By the way, the run up to this is from Scott's side, because that was Melissa's side of what she saw. Scott said, we make it down to the bottom of the mountain, and we just got down to where there was 3 or 4 houses. And for some reason, we passed the first or second house, and I said, stop here. I said, these people are going to help us.
Whether they like it or not.
Whether they like it or not. I jump out, and I run up to the house, and I bang on the door, and I say, call 911, call 911. I said, me and my friend have been shot. And they come to the door, and they see me soaked in blood, I mean from head to toe. Meanwhile, Sean got out of the car and tried to stagger to the house. Sean said, I guess, so drained because when I got out of the car, I almost just fell down. I was just out of it. And Melissa Miller thought it was one of my son's friends playing a joke.
Being real funny.
Being hilarious until I actually went to the door and seen him holding his neck and blood was running down. And I said, oh my goodness, this isn't a joke. So the cops get a crazy call because obviously once the ambulance comes, they're going to get the police involved because there's a lot of gunshot wounds here. Yeah. So this is a wild fucking quote from this cop. Yeah. He said, quote, so whatever night it was, I got a call dispatch, and they said I'd better come out because Randall Smith had shot 2 more people.
Incredibly cavalier.
And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, that's a lot of joke playing going on over the dispatch for fucking murder suspects. But they were serious, so I had to go out there. Yeah, you do, stupid. I had to go out there. Yeah, dummy. So I guess that one of the local people said Mr. Smith was known to loaf around the hikers a lot. So they were kind of looking around to see if he was hanging out with other hikers. Okay. Then John Beckham of Atlanta said some hikers were sleeping off the trail, avoiding shelters because it was because that's where the murders happened. Right, so even 20 years later, they knew it. 25 years later, they said that they saw a sheet of loose leaf paper with a skull and crossbones and the words, "You've been warned," drawn on it.
Stay out.
And his father saw the same image and words on a rock. So that's what we've been seeing. Yeah, that's a lot. A hiker named Danny Reed said he heard the gunshots that night. When he later heard that the shooter may have been Randall Smith, he said he couldn't believe it. He said, quote, I was like, you got to be kidding me. That guy's back again? Yeah, stupid he is. So Randall makes his escape in Scott Johnston's pickup truck.
May as well take it, yeah.
It's a Ford Ranger pickup truck. It's in the woods with the keys in it, so Randall takes that. That's that. Now, the following day, this is the day after the shootings here, there's a guy named Moondog. Hell yeah. That's what everyone calls him on the trail. He goes and talks to the cop that's looking for Randall Smith in the woods. And this cop said, Moondog told us he'd been camping the night of all this over in a thicket, and he heard the truck coming by and stopped near the end of an old fire road. He said he knew it was a Ford Ranger pickup because he had one and he knew what the taillights looked like, and he recognized the door chime, the bong, bong, bong when the door was open. He knew it was a Ranger. He said that he saw someone get out and start walking around this old fire road with a flashlight. He could tell he was looking around for something. He was rooting through the leaves and stuff, and the guy was cussing. He said this Moondog hollers out, hey, and a couple more cuss words come out, and then the guy with the flashlight jumps in his truck and takes off. All right. So the cop said, so we went with Moondog back to his campsite. That's a weird thing to say.
Back
so
to
we
his
went.
Thicket. Yeah.
We went with Moondog back to his thicket and shared a breakfast of groundhog, is what the next line's probably going to be there. And you could tell that he'd been there. A couple of us walked down the road, and he said, "Stop right there. That's where he was. Look around." Sure enough, right in this brush pile, we found stuff that belonged to Randall Smith.
There it is. We got it.
There it is. They said it was an astonishing amount of items. Some of it weird, some of it strange, some of it just puzzling. Mm-hmm. You will find out exactly how weird this guy is.
All of it creepy.
We definitely know it's his, though.
Okay.
For sure. They said we were sure it belonged to Smith because it had things in it like his GED certificate he got when he's in prison.
Never get rid of that.
And if that's not enough, it had his birth certificate in there as well. So it's definitely Randall Smith. He said a couple other things, including a little tape recorder that had a tape of some kind of ritual.
Oh.
You could hear people moaning and screaming. It sounded like a witchcraft kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
The official investigation narrative referred to the audio cassette's contents as, quote, some kind of satanic ritual.
Right.
Okay. This is fucking hilarious. They agreed that the cassette featured a man's voice chanting and women's voices moaning in the background, augmented by music apparently generated by a theremin. So
here we go. Yeah.
That creepy old music.
Yeah.
There was also some kind of handwritten, what they called occult material found along with the items. They said, this is what Skidmore said, quote, "We found written incantations that I believe were from the Wiccan religion. Right. All hail guardians of the watchtower," and so forth. Yeah. They said this is the exact thing. "Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the east powers of air and invention, hear me. Hail to the guardians of the watchtower of the south powers of fire and feelings, hear me. Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the west powers of water and intuition," spelled INTO, wishin', like upon a star. Yeah. Intuition.
Tremendous.
"Hear me. Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the north by the powers of the mother and earth. Hear me."
Hear me roar.
Hear me roar.
Yeah.
"Aid me in this magical working on this May's Eve garden of the bitter sea. Show me your glory. Show me your power. I pray thee. I pray thee. I invoke thee. O sacred one, sacred one, hear my calls, ancient wise one. Teach me thy ways. Lend me thy powers. Right. Show me thy glory.
Show me the way.
I invoke thee. I invoke thee, O ancient one."
Sure
it's from The Craft.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's from the movie The Craft, 1996, with Fairuza Balk and a bunch of other women. Yeah, it's The Craft. It's a witchcraft movie from the 90s. A teen witchcraft movie from the 90s. That this 60-year-old fucking weirdo puts a goddamn tape recorder up to and audio records shit off of it, okay?
Amazing.
Other handwritten incantations, as they call it, which is fucking hilarious, is... we'll talk about this. The handwritten version found among Smith's belongings is almost word-for-word identical incantation uttered by actors Fairuza Balk, Rachel True, Nev Campbell, and Robin Tunney during this stormy scene on the beach, which significantly advances the plot.
Unbelievable.
They said it's not a perfect match. There's some places the Smith text diverges from the movie script, but it's enough to... he was getting what he could remember. Intuition. The other handwritten incantation, now is the time, now is the hour, ours is the magic, ours is the power, which is absolutely from The Craft, because that was on the trailers. Features prominently in the beginning of The Craft, as does one of the abstract occult symbols drawn apparently by Smith on one of the stashed documents. He was just really into The Craft.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
Fan.
Wasn't into Wicca, really. Wasn't just into The Craft, whatever they were into.
Just wants to fuck a crazy girl.
Holy shit. Among the items, too, that he had were a copy of a law enforcement radio 10 codes and a police scanner. There's also a small battery-operated television. There were molded plastic contour maps of the area of Giles and Bladd counties where the attempted murder occurred. There were several places marked in pencil on the maps. He said, "We searched those places and didn't find anything. There was, I don't know, that now they're talking about in his stuff, there was, I don't know how many, dozens of knives. Most of them look like kitchen knives. There was a couple hunting knives and maybe a butcher knife, but dozens of knives. There were clothes. I'm wanting to say 8 pairs of ladies' underwear."
Oh, boy.
That's new.
That's a lot.
There were several pairs of eyeglasses that were either ladies or unisex style glasses.
Sure,
So he just, anything that a woman had... He feels like he can like some kind of witchcraft power. He can extract some pussy out of that. I don't know what his deal is. It's so strange. What a weird guy. So the panties and the eyeglasses and all this type of shit. So now they really want to find him. They bring in cadaver dogs. Ponds are drained to scour the muck for corpses. Nothing found. Roughly 100 of the collected items were called for DNA testing. The 8 pairs of ladies' panties, by the way, were black size large, bright pink size 7, pale pink size large, light purple size medium 6, white lacy size L7, large 7, white Hanes size 8, white size 7, and white with blue trim size 7. They yielded no leads, no DNA. Same thing with the glasses.
Okay.
They're thinking that he might have taken those off somebody's clothesline.
Sure, yeah.
That's like one person, one lady, one lady's clothesline, and then stole her glasses too, maybe out of her car or something. Maybe. Who knows? So they said, we wanted to see if there was any blood on these knives. We got nothing. We sent out the underwear, but they'd been exposed to the elements and there was no DNA on it, so we don't know who any of that belonged to. We passed the word all up and down the trail for any unsolved homicides or anything like that. Nothing. It was just a crazy, crazy case. You would think that you could put a word out. Anybody here get a bunch of underwear stolen from him?
Yeah.
Weird underwear thief?
Maybe it's a cabin that somebody's not at a lot.
That's the other thing. That they might have found something like that or broke into somebody's house, and that's all he stole was fucking underwear, like a weirdo. At that point, finally, they spot him with the Ford Ranger one day in the woods, and they give chase on Sugar Run Road, which is also in Giles County. Randall leaves the scene, takes off it's a 2000 Ford Ranger. A state trooper spotted the vehicle on Sugar Run Road near Eggleston, Virginia, pulled on the road behind Smith. He took off, went off the road to try to run through the woods and flip the truck. Randall does.
Yeah, those aren't real good off-road trucks.
Not the best, Ford Ranger, especially not. I don't even think it's a four-wheel drive.
It's a tough going. Yeah.
He was transported because I had a '99 Ford Ranger. That's not a real big off-road truck. So he's transported to the hospital where he's treated for injuries he had. A trooper recovers a gun at the scene. And it's the gun he shot the boys with there. They said that he was released into police custody. They said we read him his rights, informed him he was being charged with 2 counts of attempted capital murder, 2 counts of the use of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 1 count of possession by a firearm by a convicted felon, and 1 count of grand larceny related to the theft of the pickup truck. And then we'll tack something else on for underwear after that, but that's a whole other thing. So that's May 5th. They find him. They get him from the hospital. They bring him in. The pictures of him sitting in the police station with a sling on his arm. He looks like a dead person. He looks like a fucking corpse.
Awesome.
You look at him and you go, that person's alive?
That man ran from the law?
Shocking that he's alive. Then on May 10th, 5 days after he crashes the truck, Randall dies in jail.
Oh, shit.
Croaks in fucking jail.
God.
They said at first the cause was unknown, but tests later on showed that he had a blood clot from the car accident that they didn't catch at the hospital. And he died. They went, whoops, oh well.
Sorry about it.
And he's dead. So there you go. Randall Smith is dead.
Jesus Christ.
That's fucking insane, man. That's crazy shit. Yeah, he just dies in a chase. Blaze of glory, I guess, for him.
As it can get, yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, fucking, he had Bon Jovi cranked when he crashed.
Oh, yeah.
That's when they found him. It was just a skipping CD of "I'm going down and down, down, down" over and over again. They just couldn't get to Blaze of Glory. So both of them survived the experience. Scott is hospitalized longer than Sean, but they end up getting better. The bullets, they both still have bullets stuck in their body.
Sure.
Farmer had been in sales, but within a few weeks, he ended up getting out of sales and getting a job driving a coal truck.
Oh, wow.
He didn't want to do sales anymore. He said, I didn't have to interact with as many people.
Right.
Then he was laid off due to a slump in the coal industry.
Ouch.
Johnston been doing some contracting work in the Bluefield area, and also helping his mother, who'd been dealing with some health issues of her own. Sean said, I've camped out since then, and I've been alone in the woods. The only thing that's different now is that I used to be Mr. Nice Guy to strangers, but now I'm not. I was never like that before.
I would never again.
No, get the fuck away. Anybody walking up, the fuck away from me. I'd be cocking my shotgun going, keep on walking. Not what you're doing here. Johnston, the smaller guy, said, I feel like I got my life back. We both have a little pain, but all in all, but all the good that has come out of this has outweighed the bad. I still go out and fish, but I guess if this has taught me anything, it's taught me to appreciate the smaller things in life and to live day to day.
Awesome, yeah.
He said, Randall Lee Smith tracked Sean and I that day, and we survived. It all happened within the blink of an eye, and I've always been a good judge of character, but I never saw that coming.
Missed it.
Yep. One thing they'd like to figure out is they want to nail down confirmation that the .22 revolver with the one he shot Johnston and Farmer with was the same one he used to shoot Bob Mountford with, because they never found that gun, and it was a .22 also. So they're thinking it might be the same one. The gun they got in the second crime, the cops said, was a very old gun, the one he used to shoot these two. He said it misfired a lot and it wasn't reliable. We ran a trace on the gun, and it shows that it was sold to him in June of 81.
He's had it a long time.
Which is, yes, that's fucking crazy. They noted in the early 80s, by the way, because the murder happened in May of 81. Mm-hmm. But they said that in the early 80s, the cops said it was not uncommon for a gun dealer to wait 2 or 3 months after a sale before sending the official paperwork.
Sending
and so the sale,
at once. Yeah.
They think it's the gun he shot everybody with.
Probably.
He saved and stashed a fucking murder weapon away. They never found it. They looked through his whole house and everything. They never found it. They said so he could have bought it in May or April and just not have been turned in yet. They said the visible evidence as far as the bullets were long gone since, meaning the bullets from the first murder case had been disposed of because the case was over with. So when Smith was found unresponsive in his jail cell, they said that was the end of it as far as they were concerned.
Sure.
One of the cops said he wasn't going to murder anyone else. Mm-hmm. So, they said... They asked, what about the case? What's the progress of the case? Somebody in the press asked. And the cop said, what's it classified as? We don't have anyone to prosecute. We don't have a victim. We don't have a crime. Other than the fact that he shot those 2 boys there that night, there's nothing illegal about having a stash of hidden stuff in the woods. There's nothing illegal about a man possessing women's underwear or women's eyeglasses. There's nothing illegal about a person having 30-something knives. Anything that could have been any help to us, any lead has been exhausted. It's just a dead case.
That cop has a lot of ladies' underwear.
He's like, listen.
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal to have 4 dressers full of ladies' underwear. It's not illegal to do that, to have more ladies' underwear than the rest of your clothes put together. That's normal now, right? It's not illegal to wear 4 or 5 pairs of ladies' underwear at the same time, is it? No, it's not. Now, the best part of this entire thing is that on Randall Smith's Find a Grave, which findagrave.com is a very somber official thing. They have like the person's obituary. They have people write nice things about them, flowers, where they're buried, where they're born. It's a remembrance of their life. Right. So it's very rarely insulting. You know what I mean? It's usually reverent.
Honoring. Yeah.
His fucking thing says Randall, quote, Lion Randy Lee Smith.
Hilarious.
It says Lion Randall on his Find a Grave, which is fucking incredible. Incredible. Now, Sean and Scott, how are they doing these days? I hope this is them. And I found an article about them doing, I think it's them. There's no pictures, so I don't know if it's them, but fingers crossed it's them. This article says, otherwise there's 2 guys named Sean Farmer and Scott Johnston who are just as close, which is weird. Sean Farmer and Scott Johnston are 2 highly acclaimed musicians who've made significant contributions to the music industry. Farmer is an accomplished guitarist and singer-songwriter known for his innovative and eclectic style, while Johnston's a renowned drummer and producer who's worked with various artists, including the Foo Fighters, it says. What the fuck?
Wow.
Together, Farmer and Johnston have collaborated in several projects. Their work has garnered praise for its originality, emotional depth, and sonic experimentation. Farmer and Johnston's partnership extends beyond music creation. They're also involved in philanthropic initiatives and have used their platform to raise awareness for social and environmental issues. Their commitment to using their art for positive change further highlights their dedication to making a meaningful impact. In conclusion, Sean Farmer and Scott Johnston are 2 exceptional musicians whose collaborative efforts have produced remarkable music. Their innovative approach, musical prowess, and commitment to social responsibility makes them influential figures in the contemporary music landscape. I hope that's them. I really do.
You're incredibly talented.
And then maybe you get super talented after that. Or maybe they decide just to go all in with that shit. I don't know what happened, but we hope so. Either way, Randall's fucking dead. He's not going to kill anybody else. But what a fucking disaster. This is a mess. Yeah. Imagine living in that area during this time. Fucking crazy shit. So there you go, everybody. If you like that story, you should absolutely, assuredly tell the world about it, I would say. Yeah. Tell every goddamn person you know. Did I say goddamn? Goddamn. Every goddamn person they know about it, please, because it really, really helps the show out. Also, get on, you definitely want to go to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for live shows, because 2025 is ready and it's out, and we will go over those dates real quickly here. Let me pull those up. There we go. All right, let's do it. We have February 7th in Pittsburgh.
Right.
February 8th, Columbus, Ohio at the Davidson. It's a nice place. We've been there before. Pittsburgh, it's the Carnegie Music Hall with the bigger one in Oakland.
Right.
There, because we're stepping it up there. May 16th, we are in St. Louis at the pageant. Same place as last time. Beautiful place. Come out there. May 17th, Chicago at the Riviera. Can't wait for that. We love Chicago. September 6th, we are at San Diego, California at the Observatory where we've been before. September 7th, 2025, we are in Irvine at the Irvine Improv. That's outside of Los Angeles. September 20th. Now, there is going to be another show added to this, by the way, the next day. September 20th in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I believe it's the night before is the other show. We can't announce it right this second, and when you hear what city it is, you'll go, oh, yeah, I get why they didn't announce it that day, because it would be pretty shitty to do. It was just a cheesy thing to do. Okay, but definitely another show there. October 17th, we are in Portland, Oregon at the Newmark. October 18th, Seattle, Washington at the Moore. That's a gorgeous place. December 12th, we're in Philly. Oh, baby, back in Philly at the Fillmore. Can't wait to get those cheesesteaks again. And December 13th, we are in Washington, D.C. So get in there and get your tickets right now. They are available everywhere. So get in there. We're fucking jacked for it. We can't wait. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. Follow on social media at Smalltown Murder, on Instagram at SmalltownPod, on Facebook. So hang out and do that. You definitely want to listen to our other two shows, Crime in Sports, which is hilarious, and you don't have to like sports. We have a horrible... like basically somebody who makes Marlowe on The Wire look like a nice guy, an awful drug dealer guy who has 2 seconds of sports, and then it's all crimes right now. So check that out. And then you want to listen to Your Stupid Opinions, which everybody, it's fucking hilarious. It's
terrific. Yeah.
If you're not listening to that show, you're missing out. You're really missing out. It's really funny. Check it out. Also, head to Patreon. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get all of the bonus material. Yeah. Anybody, $5 a month or above, you get hundreds of episodes immediately upon subscription. Whole huge back catalog of bonus stuff you've never heard. Then news shit every other week. One Crime in Sports, one Small Town Murder. And we say it's shit, but you'll think it's stuff. It's great. It's good stuff. This week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about, just going to have some fun talking about old sports songs.
Should be fun.
Not songs about sports, athletes thinking they can sing, which is fucking hilarious. We're going to make fun of them, and it's really, really great. We can't wait for that. Then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about remote viewing, which is something that the CIA spent billions of dollars trying to do, so someone could sit in a room, concentrate hard enough, and see what a terrorist is doing in a cave 10,000 miles away. And mixed results, let's just say that. So we'll talk about all that and more. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports. And you get a shout out, which comes right fucking now. Jimmy, hit me with the names of the most wonderful goddamn people on the face of this earth who would never, ever, ever shoot us multiple times at a campsite. Hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producer, Gary Howard, Laura Shin in Denmark, Maida Louisa, and Sam Bam. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah. Yes. Annette Hollywood, Courtney Jadele, and Dr. Rita Miller. Thank you all.
Thank you
so much for what you do.
We appreciate the hell out of you.
Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, Liz Vasquez, Jennifer and Dan Ward. Happy 18th anniversary. Janice Hill, Jonathan Braun, Samantha Clark, Mysteries with no last name, Nancy Steislinger, Brandy Lynn Pierce, Richard with no last name, Amy Jenny John,
Jimmy Johns,
or Celia. It's Jenny. That's definitely Jenny.
It's a competitor to Jimmy John's.
I like Jimmy John's subs.
I'm getting Jenny John's. Huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll eat anything. I'll eat Subway. I don't give a shit, but I prefer like a good deli sandwich with a good stiff bun and roll, and you know how it goes.
Good buns on those Jenny Johns. Or Celia Prize, Didi Concepcione? Concepcion. Didi Concepcion.
Oh, Didi. That's better than Diddy. You got to be careful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Mulcahy, Ian Luckett. Ian Keith also. That's two different Ians. That's rare. John with no last name. Corey Neely. Julia with no last name. Alexis Croce. Miranda Oliva. Kiddo Coyote. Michael with no last name. Xavier with no last name. Chan with no last name. Lauren Hunter. Heather with no last name. Stephen Lauder. Amanda Harker. Peter Lafreniere. Neil Poling. Hej. Elizabeth Cajos. That's not right. Patty F.K. Nelson. Also probably not right.
Also
Lynn
possibly.
Capella. Christopher DeMars, Bree Bussell, all right, Mucho Macho.
All right.
JKU Alien, Jakku, Amber Fayette, Amber with no last name, Kaylee Hafner, April with no last name, Samantha McFadden, Sean with no last name, Madeline Happold, Whitney Patterson, Pam Parker, Kelsey Drew, Miriam Takiadine, Megan Thompson, Magen. What is that? Megan?
Megan.
It's Megan Thompson.
There we
That's
go.
what that is. Carlos Edward, Laura.
Their parents did her wrong, though. That's
yeah,
rough.
they sure did. They fucked
spelled
you over,
Megan
Megan
like that. She was like, you fucking assholes. Just spell it
Kate
normal.
Maxwell, Emily Van Chalette, Victoria Lenya, Clayton Bonner, Janice Klee, Brian Herman, Misty Edwards, Kyle Stubbs, Lauren Truck, Costabo Park, Cow's Tub, I don't know.
Cow's Tub.
Coostube, Heather Orozco, Trenton Miller, Britt McPeak, Anne Marie Cooper, Ree with no last name, Jessica Lingafelt, Linja, all right, Michael Johnson, Cheyenne with no last name, Blake Turner, Lauren Farrell, Mackenzie Engler, Mark Linus, Leslie Foster, Sarah Dixon, Kevin Etienne, Lauren Rushing, Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Bakin. That's very
Sweet.
funny.
Kevin's bacon.
Yeah, he's bacon. William Wagner, Morgan with no last name, Sea-Witch 555, Kelly with no last name, Kathy Gaskell, Trevor with no last name, Eric Giuliano, Willem Verhagen, Kay Nicole, Nancy Cagle, Luke Robinson, John Gray, Corey with no last name, Jill with no last name, Natalie Arch, Stephen Condliff, Lisa Eisenberg, Alyssa Haybeger, Avery Aiden, Candy Brewer, Jadia with no last name, Daniel Pittman, Elise Johnson, Leila, not Layla. Okay. Jennifer Donato, Martha Grigsby, Katie C. Keith with no last name, Nicole with no last name, Gabriel Lucero, Evan Katz, Maya Holcomb, Eliza Hawley, Miranda Davey, Christina Cruz, Elsa Al-Mansuri, A.W., Jess with no last name, Megan Valakis.
At least you got the Megan part right.
Yeah.
You got that
She'd
nailed
rather
this
have
time.
the other way. That last name's no good. Tiffany Skates,
I
Amanda
can't laugh. Look at
Redfern,
mine. It's worse, probably.
Sarah DeLayla, Tara with no last name, Jay's Rock and Roll Stories, Waffle Bros, Rebecca with no last name, Rise 804, T Breezy, Laura Bergard, Amanda Ham, Emily Kittleson, David Talkington, Eric Seuler, like Micellar Water. Seuler?
Seuler? Oh, okay.
All right. Alice Mouse, Steve Chippendale, Underwhelmed Reader, Melinda Johnson, Jasmine Bond, Jordan Bond, Becky with no last name, Mallory Hakes, Mallory with no last name, Larry Lava King, Jack Skenzel, okay, Sophia Haid, not going to fuck with, all right, Mickey Farrell, B. Moore, Sarah Forshey, Mark Cook, Sydney Olson, Chris B., Aaron Garrity, Lisa Michalski, Amy Williams, Arminda Green, Michael Leftwich, probably Byron's brother, Tatum with no last name, Kelsey Dunlap, Arminda, that's wild.
Like
Tiffany Morris,
type of thing?
Arminda, yeah, Arminda.
Green.
Just like your
like
your arm would be in the green.
Two in the
know,
pink,
yeah.
like type of deal.
Arminda,
Like that's yeah.
Wild.
Maybe.
And all of our patrons. You guys are the best, especially Arminda Green.
Thank you so much, everybody. You wonderful, fantastic bastards. We cannot thank you enough for what you do for us on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Thank you. Can't wait to see everyone at the live shows. Come out and buy tickets. You want to follow us on social media. Real goddamn easy to do. All you have to do is Go to shutupandgivememurder.com. It's all right there. That said, thank you for joining us. And no, not live. That's the other show. Let's do that. And we'll say instead, until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus